Right, good.
Okay, shalom everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. Shout out Stream of Wisdom, Kazaki in Virginia, Quatazop in Houston, and Zion in Rochester, New York. Hope y'all brothers are doing good. Cabo Cobb in Guatemala. Shalom, brother. Hope everybody's doing well out there, and hope the congregation is doing well. We're going to send our prayers up and get going for this next Sabbath and get back going in the swing of things. All right? Majum Panya Hirashima. All right. Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ha-ha-wa-ha. Nathan-Lanawa. Award. Zayawam. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us light this day. Thank you, so be it.
Just grab it from the thing and you have a better chance at it. I should have did this earlier. Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ha-ha-wa-ha. Nathan-Lanawa. Rayach. Nayachaka. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us sweet Savior. Thank you, so be it.
Okay. Just take your time, get it done. Amajim Waponya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
I got that one before.
There's plenty of liquid.
I got one.
It works. It's the stuff in here right now.
I got a French one before, bro.
Let me see. I got you.
Okay, cool.
You got it. What's going on? There's one in here too.
All right, perfect. I don't know what's up. What?
Shalom, everybody. Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ha-ha-wa-ha. Nathan-Lanawa. Ha-Shabbat. Ba-Shalom. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the Sabbath and peace. Thank you, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anasha, Ayan Yam Ahoyam, Ma'aya, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Ma, Yahweh, Sha'isha, Shemaiah, Wa'aratiza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamaya, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yishan, Shashawamah, Yashua, Yahweh, Shemaiah, Yahweh, Tazalia, Aya, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemaiah, Makor, Rai, Yashemor, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashemor, Hawalaka, Wabu'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Iwalam, Aman.
Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'Allah shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. Amen.
Israelite Credo. Shema Yasharim, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharim, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharim, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad.
Israelite Credo in English. Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord.
Lord's Prayer. Avanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodesh, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakutka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazak, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Netananawa, Lacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalachanawa, Wathinawa, Kasalachanawa, Wathinawa, Wala'ah, Tabianawa, Banasawan, Abo, Hawashana, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapa, La'ai, Amen.
Amen. Lord's Prayer in English. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. The commandments. La'ayahaya, Lakar, Alahaya, Achaya, Aya, Hanya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
Number 2. La'a, Tha'ina, Lakar, Pasal, Wala'ah, Tha'ibada.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'a, Thalachwachah, Sham, Yahweh, Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Zakor, Hayawam, Hashabbat, Laquadashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad, Abaka, Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
6. La'a, Zaratazak.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'a, Tana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'a, Taganah.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'a, Ta'ina, Shakwa.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'a, Tachamat, Asherah, La'raika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Israel Yeshavim.
Israel seated.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
This one we got a little juice left.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get rid of those other 2 so we can stop creating confusion.
This is
They just get dump them. There's still stuff there in the orange one, bro.
I don't know why it doesn't work. It just doesn't.
It's working. I'm missing with you.
I gotta buy a better version. It's cool.
Okay, everything's gonna be okay. Shalom. We're back. Well, I'm back at it. The brother's been holding it down tremendously. When I was down for those few days, just a quick recap for Nehemiah. Nehemiah 1. We were dealing with the adverse conditions Israel was going through at the time, the human trafficking, the killing, the abusing, because our walls were open, we were exposed to all of our enemies, and our enemies were taking advantage of us. Then we got to Nehemiah chapter 2, where Nehemiah had to sit back here and petition King Artaxerxes to get the financing and the military support to make the trip from Persia all the way to Israel. And that was a dangerous proposal, because you never know how he's going to react when you ask him for things and petition him. But King Artaxerxes and his wife fully supported Nehemiah's trip to Israel. They just want to know when he was coming back, which let us know how good of a manager and leader he had shown himself to be in Persia. The crazy thing is, when you read about all these great men and the responsibilities that they took on, understand the Most High didn't put these individuals in these spots just because. They earned their opportunities. They had shown themselves in different arenas to get the opportunity to do greater for their nation. And he had obviously showed in Persia his ability to manage in pressure situations, in difficult times. He obviously had a cool head on his shoulders. He obviously was able to delegate.
Multitask.
He was able to multitask, delegate, and he was spiritually grounded. So he had a lot of tools he was bringing to the table when he came back down to Israel to help his people.
And what our people do famously, we have managers or so quote unquote leaders, but they're never tapped into the Most High God. We have people that of skill or of ability, whether they're good financially, or they're good when it comes to communication skills, or they're good when it comes to organization.
Yep.
They don't have the spiritual connection with the Father to match with
or the love for their people.
Or especially that.
Exactly.
Especially that. A lot of people that have the skill sets necessary and the talent and ability necessary do not have the compassion required and the love required to deal with the people, our people's deficiencies, or their where we're at as a nation, as a whole.
And you're going to see time in and time out that the Most High is choosing those of us of our nation who are humble, who have a love for their people, who have a love for the Most High, and have the skill sets needed to lead. And you're going to see that how the nations looked at us and how the entire world looked at us is as we were a rudderless ship. A people with no leadership, a people that would sit back here that were pretty much a crabs in a barrel that can be exploited by every other nation around them. We're going to read into that in a little bit. But chapter 2 deals with the petition or the allowance of King Artaxerxes to bring Nehemiah down back to Israel. He makes the trip down with his military escort. Then he sits back here and takes observation of all the damage and all the wreckage. Then he galvanizes the people and he sits back here after he sees the damage and the scope of what the problem is and the scope of the work. Then he brings them together spiritually and he exhorts them to come together, the skillful men of the people and everybody else to come together and go all in to protect their people and to set up these walls. Then you jump into chapter 3 when it starts going into the execution of the actual walls and the construction going from the counterclockwise position back up. And then it shows throughout that chapter how you had some of the elites that didn't want to touch no smoke. They were selfish. They were individual people like normal. But for the most part, the people in the body and the skilled men, the skilled labor came together, put the work in, and the people that didn't do the skilled labor, they were the bearers of burdens. And everybody chipped in as best as they could, and the ball started rolling.
And one brother he was all in. He had his daughters working with him.
I know.
Because he really believed in what he was doing.
Exactly. And that this was an all-in approach because they understood if we don't sit back here and go all in now, what's going to be there for our grandchildren?
Exactly.
Our sons, our daughters, our grandchildren, our immediate family down the line, it's going to be even worse for them down the line. So this is the understanding even for our movement as teachers and brothers in the body now. If we don't build something for our children and for our grandchildren, then what's going to be left for them? If we're not going to be that living sacrifice in this present time, then what's going to be there for our children as they grow older? And our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. We have to start thinking this way. But in order to think this way, somebody's life has to be sacrificed for the needs and the progression of the rest. Now, what I want to do is, first of all, go to Romans chapter 7 and 21. Because after Shamshawan had jumped into Nehemiah 3, he went into Malachi, but I want to just focus still on the topic of Nehemiah. How it was a great feat to even get the people that he got to sit back here and come together and sacrifice and work and come out of themselves and to get the work started. It was a great feat. The surrounding nations didn't think they had what it took. They laughed and the scorn. We're going to read more about this now. They laughed and the scorn. They mocked him Because it's almost like the idea of how many Israelites does it take to screw in a light bulb. Now, I'm saying Israelites, but Esau says different. There's a different word. And there's websites created to enhance and talk about this point. The idea is that our people can't get shit together. They can't put nothing together. It's just listen. I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna say something.
We can't do it today.
I was listening. But the idea is that our people can't be galvanized and unified for nothing, and which means we can't accomplish nothing. Which means why should we have rights? Which means why should we be looked upon as respectable people? That's really what is being said now. What's funny, you're going to see what's being said back then.
And it is used, that low estate is used to justify violence against our people. And bad policies.
And bad policies, violence, and just an overall disrespect. Yeah. That's the worst thing. When you sit back here, the funny thing is this, listen, and I'm not knocking the Israelite teaching approach, but if y'all think that the so-called white man and the powers that be are losing any sleep about the black man in America, you're delusional. We have been conquered, taken down, eliminated, and are in the process of still being exploited to this day. They're trying to break China. They're trying to break Russia. They're trying to get trillions of dollars in natural resources in Ukraine. They're trying to. They're in a race. I just read today. They're trying to sit back here and bribe Georgia, which is a smaller country under Russia, to not let China get seaport access to the Black Sea to finalize their Silk Road initiative. Wow. China's trying to sit back here and reestablish the old Silk Road to make money from the Black Sea in Turkey, which is right around where they're fighting the war at, all the way down to the east. And they're sitting back, we're going to run train lines and have access to trade and access to India, to the Philippines, all these different countries all around. They're trying to make real money. They're trying to make real moves, and America's trying to block that. America's trying to sit back here and break Russia. These countries, this is what the white man's focused on right now. The white man is just focused on, okay, who do I got to bribe in Africa to get the Africans to fight against each other? Let me sit back here. Who do I got to bring the guns to? Who do I got to sit back here and finance to sit back and establish another coup in Uganda or Rwanda
or Burkina Faso?
Or then who do I have to sit back here right now? You saw us trying to break Venezuela. All that stuff you're hearing about Venezuela and these rigged elections is all a false flag. Listen, what they don't they tell you in the media that Venezuela is just messed up country and everybody's poor and everybody's hungry and everybody's suffering and there's all these super afflictions going on. But then you sit back here and look up there and guess what you find? They have reporters coming in and these reporters are sitting back here going to grocery stores, clean grocery stores, plenty of food in the grocery stores, but on the media they're saying what? The people in Venezuela are starving. This guy Maduro is the worst guy ever. He's exploiting the people. Then they're saying that the streets are full of protesters and they're tearing stuff down. But then the reporters are going down on the highways and the highways are clean and quiet. But it's no different than when you sit back here on CNN and you'll see in China, they'll sit back here and show you all these mass protests in China about their leader, Xi Jinping. But the funny thing is when you scope it out, it's only like 40 people, 50 people out of a people full of 1 billion. Mm-hmm. But it's how you scope it. It's how you how you paint the picture. They'll sit back on the media and show you images of revolts and fights 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And they'll say this is what's happening now in Venezuela. Elon Musk got tagged 3 or 4 times on Twitter for spreading false information about Venezuela. Even his own Twitter said, that's false information. That's false information. And then after this, he says, well, this is true. And the comment was, 15 billion for whoever has Maduro's head. They want this guy dead. And they interviewed Maduro. They said these guys just want our natural resources. And they know Venezuela is the key to controlling all of South America. What am I trying to say?
You said that they're not worried about the black man unified in America.
That's my point. Because all they got to do is sit back here and finance one group to fight against another. And guess what? Everything is done. We're small potatoes. You still got Crips and Bloods. You still got, there was those up north gangs, bro. You got Vice Lords and GDs. Listen, that's all you got to do is keep setting up those groups to go counterbalance the other, throw drugs in the neighborhood, and we're done.
Yeah, all you got to do is tear down one project and force them into the same project.
Done. Oh, man.
Historically worn gangs, put them in the same project, and they still will claim that they ancestry.
Yeah.
And they old titles, and they're going to go to war with each other living in the same project community.
Kinda. And this is what you're going to see. This is how the nations viewed us even during the time of the Persian and Mede Empire. Once the Babylonians broke us, we were broken. We spread out. The Most High kept trying to bring us back together to keep us powerful. What do we keep doing? Spread out even further and further out. The more you spread out, the more you what? You weaken yourself. You're diluting yourself. So we were diluted. And then when the few of us that did come together, you're going to read in chapter 5 how we kept destroying each other and taking advantage of each other. But let's start at chapter 4. Let's get back to the initial rebuilding of the wall, which was a great accomplishment, a great start for our people. Let's keep it at that for now. Let's go to Romans chapter 7 and 21 real quick.
Man.
Oh, thank you, sir. Cry.
Karaya, Shah Shabbatah, Banashah, Banashah.
Karaya, Shah Shabbatah, Banashah, Banashah. I mentioned. Yahweh Hashem Yashar Rakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yashar Rakatah.
Okay. So let's get Romans 7 and 21.
Right.
Then we're going to jump back to Nehemiah chapter 4.
Romans chapter 7 and verse 21. I find then a law that when I will do good, evil is present with me.
Listen, I'm bringing this out to explain. Paul is bringing this out to explain the inner battle that we all fight in ourselves. When we try to take strides to do good, we try to take strides to discipline ourselves and defeat the things in us, that negative is right next to us, fighting for position. Just as much as we're trying to fight to do right, that flesh is fighting to get what it wants also. But if you take it out of an individual scenario, when you're fighting to break systematic oppression, when you're fighting to break the spirit of captivity and slavery, the spirit of being downtrodden, the spirit of being broken as a people, when people try to make positive steps moving forward to unite the nation, you also have to understand that evil is present also. You're not going to hear these stories where it's just all positive, everything is smooth sailing, and no challenges, no obstacles, no loss, no suffering comes after it. There's going to be an initial fight to establish things the right way. And right after we initially try to take this step forward as a camp, as a nation, as a group of people, you look up, then there's blowback. And we have to accept that challenge that comes to us in every realm of life trying to serve the Most High. There's adversity always packed with our service. So, read that again, verse 21.
Cant. Romans chapter 7 and verse 21. I find then a law that when I will do good, evil is present with me.
Okay, now, with that being said, Nehemiah 3 talked about the good that happened with us, the reestablishing of building the wall, construction was ongoing, everything was going smooth. The financing was there, the people were willing to do it. That's the good. Now let's go to chapter 4, verse 1.
Right. Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 1. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall.
Sanballat is the governor of, or the leader of Samaria, which is the country of individuals who were non-Israelites that were in our northern kingdom region. Okay, he was not only over Samaria, but he was the head guy in the region. He was like the head crime boss of the Moabites, the Ammonites. Everybody had their little syndicates: the Tyrians, Zidonians, the Philistines, the Edomites. All of them had their little rackets and their power and their infrastructure. But Sanballat was the head guy of them all, and he was the head of the Samaritan kingdom. So he's hearing this news that they're starting to come together. That these people that I have operated as individuals for the last 150 years, they're actually starting to come together and bring things together and organize. Okay, read on.
Right. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was robbed.
Now, the wall wasn't completely built. The wall was in process of construction. So as he's hearing it's in the process of construction, now he's pissed. And he's angry about the news of progression. Read on.
It says, and took great indignation and mocked the Jews.
And he's talking about us. He's talking about how these you-know-whats don't have what it takes to build and finish anything.
This is a
They're not sharp enough. They're not organized enough. They're not disciplined enough to get anything done. What's that?
Oh, it's a commonality. There's always people that get offended when we actually start to deal with issues of substance and necessity.
Okay.
We deal with issues that are not of substance and necessity or entertainment.
It's okay to make music. It's okay if you sexy red out here doing these whack songs, whack rap songs, and these rappers sitting back here and making us look bad. But let's not come together and do something constructive. That's a threat. And now Sanballat's his eyes are up now. His attention is focused on us. Read on.
Verse 2. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves?
So listen. He says, what are these feeble, weak-ass niggas doing? They're going to fortify themselves? But then for him to question if we can fortify ourselves means, how bad were we? You know what I mean? We didn't have an army. What the hell's going on? Listen, I don't have the exact year on top of my head when this was, the exact number year. I know it was in the 600s. But we were back in our land for around 100 years, and we never thought about putting together an army.
You talking about the year that this was on right there?
Yeah.
Right here? That was 444.
Okay, so even better. It wasn't 600, Slovakia. So we came in. So it was 444. We got back into our land 515. Mm-hmm. So that's around 80 years, 60, 70 years.
56.
And we never thought to get an army yet.
76.
We never thought. Okay, listen. We got our temple. Can we get some kind of militia? Some kind of army? What was in our head to where we didn't even think we needed to get, if we didn't have a wall, why wouldn't we get an army?
The same way it always is, huh?
It's no different than when we came out of slavery, so to speak, and we went right into sharecropping.
Yeah.
We didn't come out of slavery thinking let's protect ourselves so to make sure we don't get into slavery again. We went working with borrowed seed and tools and equipment.
We had to buy the seed. We had to buy the seed. We had to buy the equipment from Massa Boss.
Yeah.
We had to buy everything from them.
And usually stay on the same plantation.
Yeah, I know. We just made gonna pay rent though.
Yeah, we're gonna pay rent.
Consumers out.
But that's what the Brits wanted. Anyway, what's the point? Well, for them to say, listen, they're going to fortify themselves, which it means we weren't trying to fortify ourselves. We were just being individuals, farming and sharecropping. And I hope nothing happens to us. We couldn't get organized. We didn't have any proper leadership in Israel. And the priests were only focused on priest stuff.
Yep.
There was nobody, the princes who were supposed to sit back here and strategize how to get the country established, could care less. Whatever their focus was, more than likely it was money. It was them sitting back here and exploiting their own people. Organizing and fortifying themselves wasn't ever an important thing. Because if it was, when these people were coming in and raiding in their city, they would have did something about it a long time ago. So, they said they're mocking us. And they said these Jews are feeble, not in size, not in stature. We were feeble in our capacity to come together. This is how you know this ain't the Edomite.
Mm-hmm.
Esau has been organized from day damn one. Even when Esau was subservient to the kings in Europe, you know what they were? They were the bankers of the Europeans. They were the goldsmiths of the Europeans. They were in position of power, and they were structured, and they were unified. That lets you know the reputation that the real Jews had was more like our people than the reputation of the Jews that claim to be Jews now. Because the Jews that were really the Jews, we were known as an unorganized group of people who couldn't get out of our own way and couldn't establish a proper government. When one person tries to rise up, guess what happens? They get knocked down by somebody else. Another person tries to rise up, guess what? They get knocked down by somebody else. That's the mind. That's crabs in a barrel. This is what the ruler governor Sanballat is. We didn't have a governor. We didn't have somebody who was in charge of our affairs, and if they weren't getting anything done. What am I trying to explain? I'm just trying to explain the time and how bad things were and how off-kill things were. You understand? This is how disorganized we were and why we were in such a need of a leader like Nehemiah, who was diplomatic, who was organized, who believed in the Most High, got things done. That's what we lacked then, and we lack a lot of us like that now. So, who are these? What do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Read on.
Will they sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
Will they make?
What does it mean? He says, "Will they sacrifice?" You think that's about sacrificing on the altar? You think that's what the sacrifice they're talking about that the Jews have such a problem with? The Jews will sit back and sacrifice at the church. They'll go to Sunday church. What won't we as a nation sacrifice? Our time, our resources, our life. The nations understand this. You'll sit back and see an Indian family or Indian man leave home, bust his tail, live with 6 other Indian guys in an apartment in a 1-bedroom, and that's the truth, and stack all his money to sit back here to buy him a damn, either take care of his family in India or buy him a store, convenience store. and sit back here and work that store 15 hours a day.
Like it ain't nothing.
And stack and stack and stack. And his life is in the goddamn garbage can. But you know what? His other son or his other children, when they grow up, they'll be in a better position. They'll be able to go to school, get a better job, get a better position, and their family can elevate one generation after another. Us, what we do, we just live selfish individual lives. And then what do we have to give to our children? Nothing. Your tennis shoe collection.
You give him a couple J's.
These are my J's.
These are my J's, brother. I love you. These are vintage.
It's the truth. I hate. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. But what are we giving our children? You can't give them nothing if you didn't sacrifice anything for them.
But when grandmother does it, though, when grandmother burns her life, or grandpa burns her life, as soon as they die,
they sell the house.
You know,
that's what they sell. They don't flip. Nothing's being flipped.
Flipping houses fast. Let's go to these black people's houses and flip them.
No, the white man's flipping them. We ain't flipping nothing. We're losing them.
Exactly.
We don't pay the $5,000 annual taxes for the year. We won't pay 5 racks. But but the income tax is 7.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Income tax is 7. And there's like 4 brothers, 3 sisters in the family, and nobody can come together for $5,000 for income tax. So a $70,000 or $100,000 house, if it's fixed, can be worth $250,000 to $300,000.
Yeah. We come together for funerals. Funerals, when it comes to we have
jacked up.
Put on the ground, which is something good. Funerals, barbecues, to fight each other. Certain holidays like barbecues,
car shows.
Car shows, hell
we
yeah.
come together for car shows.
Hell yeah.
In Texas, it's
I see candy paint, man. I want to see some candy paint,
Texas
man.
relays in Texas. No, if we come together for entertainment purposes. And
Good. Boxing.
Yeah.
We'll come together for some fights. We'll come together for all that. When it comes to actually sitting back here and sacrificing,
doing commerce.
Yeah.
When it comes doing commerce that's beneficial to our families. It's not gonna happen.
And that's the point. And this is not just us saying it and being like anti-black people. This is what the nation saw back then in 400. You said 444? Mm-hmm. In 444 BC, this is what they said. They said, black folks going to sacrifice? They need black unity?
Because they laugh.
That's what they do. Black unity?
Yep.
They're laughing there. They're laughing back then.
We have a heavy slave mentality.
Brother,
we think
it's selfish.
We think but we think the slave mentality is just now. It's a modern slave mentality, but we've carried these traits for generations.
I don't know.
All you gotta do is give us TikTok.
Yeah.
Give us TikTok, give us entertainment, and give us some sports games, and that's it.
Entertainment, easily.
And this is not a lie. This nation, this governor is like, listen, man, he's vexed that they're actually starting something and getting something accomplished. But then in his rational brain, it's it's not gonna fit. It's gonna fizz out. There's gonna be some kind of fighting argument at the construction site, and they're not gonna get past the issue.
I'm a real.
Listen, somebody's pride's gonna get hit.
Exactly.
And then construction's gonna stop. They're gonna sit back and really come together and sacrifice to get this common goal. I doubt it.
We don't think past self. Keep it simple.
Like I said, let's read it again. Read it again from the top, verse 2.
The Indian cats, I talked to them at the G stations, and they they're like, I work all day, my brother.
Yeah.
And he smiles about it.
Yeah. Because if somebody's getting taken care of behind it. They understand, let me sacrifice my life so that somebody else can have. And they're okay with that. But we can't accept that. We can't accept that. Somebody got to be a living sacrifice so somebody else can benefit.
And you'll see on a national level, once he needs off day, he needs it, you'll see the wife in there, like doing the register, doing the all the work for one day. she'll lock it down.
You must go to these
and give
spots a
him
lot,
break.
man.
I'll be there all the time.
You see, I mean, how many times a day a week do you see it? See the work cycle for him to realize he has his off day today. I'm just
I'm in the bodega.
Anyway, man. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying they have a team. They have teamwork when it comes to their nuclear family. Their nuclear family knows how to do teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when you have a nuclear family that can do teamwork, then hopefully that progresses past the household to the tribes and to the nation. But we can't do it even in the household arena. We're having a hard time as a nation just operating with checks and balances in the house.
Kinda. So this is what this is about, and this is what Sanballat is realizing as he is starting to get news that the Jews are getting some kind of headway in the construction. Read verse 2 again.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 2. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria, and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice?
Are they going to really come together as a unit and get this done? They're going to be able to finish what they start? Read on.
Will they make an end in a day?
Mm-hmm.
What
does it mean to make an end in a day? Are they going to finish today? Are they going to finish today? Do they have the capacity to finish anything? Or are they going to quit when it gets hard? Read on.
Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? Now,
what he's saying is this. He said, how hard that damn work is? Are they going to really get that work done? Or are they going to sit back here and get all these heavy damn stones that are burned and charred? How are they going to get rid of it? You know how heavy that is?
When he says, will they make an end in a day? How many of our people always want to go home early from work?
Yeah, bro.
We always try to sneak out the last 30 minutes, last 20 minutes. We always try to find a way to get out of work real quick, like shut it down. Like in the last hour, we're already winding down in the last hour.
Can I do my lunch at around 3:30?
Yeah.
And don't come back?
Yeah.
If I do my lunch at 3:30, I get out at 5.
If I take a 30-minute restroom break, right before it's time to get out,
I'm out. I can beat that traffic.
Yeah, I can shut the phones off early to not take no more phone calls.
Yeah.
Golly.
Shut the door, close the door, lock the door about 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
And don't let nobody
else in here. Yeah.
We're closed. We're closed.
Pull out the brooms and the mop to let them know you closed.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
What you going to say, Karai?
he said the same thing. I'm going to take that lunch break 30 minutes before I got to leave.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm outie. I'm out of here. That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, more shots.
That's it.
That's how people are.
And this is what the nations are saying about us. This is not a war just being anti the people. This is what the nations are saying about the people. This has been our pattern. For them to say it means this is our pattern and how we've been operating, even in the 400 BC times.
What it shows is that when it comes to work ethic being instilled for ourselves, we don't maintain that. But when it comes to work ethic being instilled to benefit another nation, we can maintain that. That's a contrast from the 10-day work weeks in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a 10-day work week in Egypt for Pharaoh, but we can't do it for ourselves. That's a mental disconnect, is my point.
And
we're not saying, black people can't do anything, like this guy do anything.
That's a curse.
We have a cursed psychological disconnect where we can see the benefit. Black people can benefit and come together and do things for others. We can march for others, grind for others. All the civil rights movement did was open the door for people of color. What is people of color? That means other races that are brown, that are not Hebrews, they go ahead and they get the lion's share of the benefits of the civil rights that we died, hung, got robbed, destroyed, and lynched for, and got threatened for. They're getting the lion's share of those benefits. That's why you see Chinese restaurants, Arab restaurants, Indian gas stations, because those are locations where in the quote-unquote Negro community where we can have our own type of our own businesses that we can sit here and fund and benefit ourselves, but they'll give that location, those funds and those loans to foreign nations, and they'll say, "Listen, we'll go ahead and give you a benefit. Just come on in." That is a plan to push to keep us out of those strategic positions.
And what's messed up, even those type of businesses, what runs us from that, it takes a lot to get profit from that. There is a reason that the Indian people work 12, 15-hour shifts. You know why they do that? You know why they do that? You can't make a profit if you keep hiring people.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the damn reason. You can't make a profit if you have 4 shifts. I mean, you got to pay 4 different people. I know. Listen, my neighbor across the street, he owned a Dunkin' Donuts. Every time in the morning, I'll take my kids to school in the morning. He's just getting back from work, bro, banging out cigs out. He's just knocking out cigs out. Elon. And he's knocking out cigs, bro. And you know what's happening? He's trying to wind down from grinding from damn 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And guess who goes in from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.? His wife.
Wow.
That's how you make money. You can't make money hiring all these people. That's why they do it. I knew a guy from New York who had a convenience store. He said, man, the money isn't in the gas. You can't make any profit out of the gas. And you barely make profit off the food items in the store.
What?
The money is not in the gas. It's in the convenience. It's up inside the store.
And that's why those snacks be out of date.
Yes.
That makes sense.
He said the money isn't. You think that you got a gas station, you're making bank. He said, man, you're not making bank. He said, you got to have a bunch of them. It's like a mall, right? You got to have a bunch of malls, right? Or you got to have a bunch of trucks. Because you can, one is like, is it going to make you all this money? You got to get all that inventory, got to get sold, bro, and you're not getting that much of a profit off of it. And this is why they work the crazy hours. Because you can't make money, you can't make a profit and hire 3 shifts, 4 shifts. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why that's why they got to go. And so this guy and the other guy, this guy's pushing the hell out of donuts, bro, coffee. This guy's throwing his life away
and not really making a profit.
And he said, yeah, he told us, he said, yeah, man, I have to move out of this neighborhood because I need a gated community for my daughter. Because when we're at work, I don't want any guys to sit back and try to mess with her. I was like, first of all, bud, that's not going to solve that problem.
Yeah,
the gated community is not going to solve the curiosity.
No, it's not.
But he's doing the best he can with the fact that he's gone and his wife is gone, and it's just like maybe one parent there, maybe.
It's not enough.
You better fly grandma all over.
But you know what the reality is? That is the condition he is in. Because in his head, I'm trying to get my daughter a better life. So he bought this damn spot. It's expensive as hell. They got to go all in to make it pop. That's what it takes. But a lot of us, we run from that reality. I want to be free, man. That's slavery right there. Okay, cool.
We did it.
But you're not gonna.
We did that.
We did that.
We did. Well, especially Charles Washington generation. You Charles Washington generation. I remember I was a kid out in the mall lot. Every time I walked in the mall lot, I saw them in the mall lot. They were like a part of the architecture of the mall lot. When I was like middle school, I would go in the mall working.
Oh, you working?
Yeah, I'm a kid. I'm a kid out.
You talking about the
Ingram, North Star? Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. When the mall game was heavy.
Yeah.
When the
that was 7 days.
When the mall game was heavy, there was no off days. Y'all were working
that was 10 to 9, bro.
Listen.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
10 to 9, 10 a.m., 9 p.m.
No off days.
Then council.
You expect to see. I'm talking from a Jake perspective though. I got the luxury of seeing from Jake.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. You expect to see these guys with the same shirt, the same pants, the same shoes, smiling, operating, and working like clockwork, and they became a fixture of every mall. You guaranteed to saw it. And what the point I'm getting to is the nations began to respect us. You could tell the nations that were around us respected because they saw a all-in approach and an all-in work ethic.
Huh?
And they knew it was something for beyond, because brothers weren't wearing a bunch of jewelry and stunting and rocking and Bentleys. But everybody thought
the nations did respect us. There's nothing about it.
You saw
so those same guys, them same Israelites were selling jewelry, and they saw us every damn day too.
Yep.
Okay.
They respect. I'm saying this because when we deal with the nation, we have a mentality the nations are straight opposites, straight enemies. And in some instances they are. But in some instances, it's just based on family values, national culturalistic values. Mm-hmm. A lot of respect that we don't get is based on us not having the same ethics and values as other nations. We had to sit here as a nation, come together and rebuild our ethics and rebuild our values. Our family values, our family ethics, our discipline ethics, our discipline values. When we rebuild those things, we get respect from different nations. Respectability is an option. It is how much work and sacrifice it takes to gain respect.
Okay. And that's the situation. So I think we got that point to where this is how the nations have looked at us for a long time. Not just in the 20th century, 21st century. This has been going on for a long time.
And this is the reason why I love being a Hebrew Israelite. Is because when you were taught, and we've been Jews for many years, but when you're coming from Jake to Jew, you think that this slave mentality is just an American thing. You think the condition we're in is just an American thing. Or if you're very young, you think it's a 1960s thing.
Yeah.
It's a 60s thing. But really, it's thousands of years we've been in this condition.
Yep.
Thousands of years we've had the same cycle of bad traits that have put us in a weaker position to be a slave class.
Now, I'm going to say this. Part of the main reason that we've been in this degraded space, even back then, is because we've lacked proper, strong leadership. The populace is only going to do so much. Yep. The individual is only going to do so much. I have seen over my time and experience, the better the leader, the more things gets done.
Reflection.
The better a person can inspire and lead from the front, the more things get accomplished. That's not just words. This is what Israel needed sorely back in these days, what we need now. But let's read verse 3, and I'm going to bring some more things out. Read verse 3 in Nehemiah.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 3. Now Tobiah, the Ammonite, was by him, and he said, even that which they build.
He said, so now this Ammonite guy, who's a governor, he said, even if they do finish the work, it's going to be so damn shabby and poorly built. Read on.
If a fox go up.
A fox.
A fox, huh? Read on.
He shall even break down their stone walls.
So he's saying that our craftsmanship is going to be so poor, even if they finish, it's going to be shoddily built. And if we want, we can push it down, or a damn animal can push it down. They're just laughing and clowning us, like we're just like the lowest level people ever.
You know why? Because our people are known for rigging stuff. They call it figure rigging.
Yeah, no, they call it another word. Yeah, we can't put
trigger rigging, figure rigging. Because we like to put tape on everything and try to fix things with unusual methods, cheap methods, instead of using the right tools and the right equipment to do the right repairs. Right. We try to make subpar work that blows up later on, and we say that's gonna hold. That's gonna hold. That's gonna hold. That's gonna hold. It's gonna hold. And then something go wrong later on, and we're known for that. We're known for rigging. What some people call it is Mickey Mousing.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, they call it, man. Y'all want a jerry rig?
Yeah.
You want a Mickey Mouse stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you're not actually using the right equipment, and that's what we do. We build things out of affordability and what we think is a concept of easy fix. That's how we do things. And so, of course, the nations look at us and say, oh, man, what y'all build is not going to last. Y'all not building something that lasts because y'all don't use the right equipment. Y'all don't want to spend no money to get the right equipment. Y'all try to make up stuff as you go. And that's what we do.
Duct tape goes a long way, bro.
Yeah. Listen, bro.
Duct tape on everything.
I'm going to say this. This is why we are not a challenge in the world, bro. Listen.
Foil antennas.
Yes.
Pliers on knobs.
Yeah.
This is how you know we're not We're not the white man's things to do list. We're not a
buckets under the sink to stop the leak, but that don't. All you're doing is filling up a bucket. You know,
the bucket's there for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, buckets. It's permanent. It's a permanent.
Sorry about that.
That was like a wrestling.
I'm sorry.
That was like a literal one of those.
I'm sorry. That was a trip.
It's okay.
That's why I had to go.
No, but we put buckets under the sink. That bucket be there forever. I never move because we won't fix the sink. The answer is the bucket.
We did that forever.
But this is how the nations know we operate. This is our MO. So we're gonna hold that. We're gonna read Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1 through 2. Everything that's being said is true, and it's very unfortunate.
Wow, bro.
He's just letting us know how bad our reputation had fallen over the years.
I like the fact we're bringing out that it's a nationalistic issue.
Yeah. And it's also proof to let you know that these Jews in this Bible is talking about us.
Not the big nose fake Jews on TV. Barbara Streisands and Jerry Springers and the Jerry Seinfelds. Their nation, they get things done.
They get a lot of things done. Their
banking system is almost impossible to defeat.
Listen.
It's impossible to defeat them.
They're organized. They've always been organized. We're not.
Yep.
And that's how you know we're the Jew. Read on.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. How is the gold become dim?
He's letting us know. This is Lamentation. This is after the fall in 586 BC. He's like, how is the gold and the high caliber of our nation, how is it diminished? How is our ability, our leadership, our organizational skills, our ability to get things done quietly, efficiently, and with skill? How is that diminished? Read on.
How is the most fine gold changed?
What he's saying is what we brought to the table when we had our kingdom was way greater than what the result is after the fall. So what he's saying is not just a physical diminishing that occurred in 586 BC. It was greater than a physical breakdown. Our pride in our work, our pride in who we were, our humility, everything about us diminished when we fell. It's like the Most High took a spirit from us. Because don't forget, we were intended from the beginning to be a shining light to the world. But every time we kept compromising ourselves and not following the laws and going against Heavenly Father, the Most High took that spirit from us. That spirit to lead. That spirit to lead from the front in industry, in ability, and skill. He took that away. Listen, I'm not trying to change the subject from the topic, but one of the main reasons that in World War I, Germany had to fall. Do y'all know why Germany had to fall? Germany's industrial output surpassed everyone in the world.
What do you mean by that?
Their industrial output, their ability to produce things at a high level, volume, and their ability to produce high quality items was second to none.
Is that why Benz is such a great name?
Mercedes-Benz, whether it's Mercedes-Benz, whether it's whatever type of craft they were putting together, they were surpassing the British in output, meaning in volume. They were outproducing the British and the rest of their competition in quantity and quality. So the powers that be had to make a decision, say, hey, these guys are outworking us, they're outclassing us, they're going to be an industrial superpower. They're already an industrial superpower. They're going to outproduce us in 15, 20 years. And we're not going to be able to stop them. So we have to break them now while we have the opportunity. That's an aspect of what we're talking about when it says we were the gold. We were known for bringing quality things together. We were known for operating at a level of output and development that was superior to the people around us. So when you're sitting back here and reading in Lamentations 4, where it says, how was the gold become dim? How was the most fine gold changed? What he's saying is that our caliber has diminished. We're not using Josephus today. Our caliber has diminished. Our work ethic has diminished. Our discipline has diminished. A lot of things have diminished in who we are as men. Okay? So read on.
Kareem, right? You can pass behind you.
So read verse 2. No, read verse 1 again.
Right. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Mm-hmm.
The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold.
At one time, we were comparable to fine gold. We were elite in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Okay. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
He says, now we're all the way down to the ground like clay. We've diminished from gold to clay. And this is what the nations have seen. This is what Sanballat has noticed. Are diminishing as a nation. Us falling apart. Okay? Let that verse go. And go to Jeremiah 14 and 2. Now, along with the nation diminishing, our output diminishing, our caliber diminishing. Don't forget, when Solomon put the temple together, that was a state-of-the-art structure.
Yes, I forgot that concept. I forgot.
That was a state-of-the-art work. That was a state-of-the-art skill and talent. That's the point. So the temple represented, hey man, these Jews, these guys are top-notch across the board. These people are about everything is first class. We went from everything being about first class to everything being about no class. Okay?
Which is what the media project for now. The media projects the worst of our people to make that the main, I guess, the main base status quo.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it's promoted right now.
But let's keep going. 14 and 2.
Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish.
So listen. Judah mourns is somewhat the state that Israel is in, and the gates languish. The gates represent the leadership. The gates are the first thing that you see before you see the actual temple, before you see the sanctuary. You're supposed to see the leaders. And we know that these gates aren't talking about physical gates, because physical gates don't have an emotion. It says, the gates thereof languish. Look up languish. Languish means to lose vigor.
Languish, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. It says, to lose strength or animation.
So it says to lose strength or animation. That's not talking about a structural thing. That's talking about the leaders that were supposed to be in the front of the people. Part of that diminishing from gold to clay was the diminishing of our leadership. Another definition of language is to lose vigor, to lose strength, vitality. He's saying our leaders have lost strength. Our leaders have lost vitality. Our leaders have lost purpose. All our leaders do is sit back here now is just advocate for themselves.
Yes.
And get sweetheart deals. That's how you can tell what leader is really advocating for their people and who's not. Are they sticking their neck out in the line? What is that leader losing so that their nation can gain? That's really what it's about. but our leadership has diminished. Our leadership has fallen, and that's why the whole head is sick. Listen, the people are going to do what they're going to do. The people are going to, most likely, there's a reason the Lord calls Israel the lost sheep of the house of Israel. What is that saying? As a nation, we need strong leadership to maximize our capabilities. So as much as we're sitting back here and we are broken down and we've been divided over the years, the leadership has been even more divided and weakened over the years. And this is why all of our strong leaders over the years have been executed.
Mm-hmm. One verse on that too.
Yeah,
2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9.
All right. 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 9.
Read that.
All right. For we know the grace of our Lord Yahushua.
Now, when it comes to setting an example as a leader, we know Christ's standard in his leadership. Read on.
Right. That though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor.
Go ahead.
Yep.
That ye through his poverty might be rich.
Now, not every leader is going to have to maintain that standard that Christ raised to that bar he raised. Not everybody's going to live up to that standard, especially leadership, where a leader chooses to be uncomfortable so that the congregation or the body can be preserved. There's always a trade-off.
Yep.
And a good leader knows that his life is a ransom for the necessities of the people under him.
And that's how you get the most of the people. When the people see that the leadership maxing themselves out, they're more inclined to max themselves out and be selfless. But the people, if they see a selfish leader, they're going to sit back and be individuals themselves. And that's the facts. You have more there?
Yes, sir.
Let this go in Jeremiah also, and go to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, 44, verse 3 and 4. This is about leadership. This is what we didn't have during the time of Nehemiah until he came. We lacked this. Okay? When we diminished as a nation in 586 BC, we lost the capability in men like this. Read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 44 and verse 4.
No, I said 3 and 4.
Okay, 3 and 4. Such as this.
Matter of fact, just read verse 1.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. The Most High sat back and worked through famous men, great leaders from the beginning. Read on.
Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding, and declaring prophecies.
Well, what he's saying is that the leaders, not only, like Shamshawan said, weren't about themselves, were about the body. They gave strong, clear counsel, understanding, prophecies. They were connected to the Most High. Read on.
God. Leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning meet for the people.
Meaning, he says the leaders that were strong, they learned and they studied and they taught and they gave the people what was meat for them. Meat is right. Yep. They gave the people what they needed to get the most out the people, based off of understanding and counsel and learning. Then you always used to say this verse about the man wanting of understanding is always a great oppressor.
Yeah.
Because that leader that's in a position of leadership and doesn't understand the scriptures, doesn't understand what the people need to be strengthened, to be spiritually exhorted, is always going to be an oppressor of people.
Yeah, Proverbs 28:16.
Read that.
The prince that wanteth understanding.
Meaning lacks it.
You want it, it means you don't have it.
Huh.
The prince that wanteth understanding is also a great oppressor.
And that's the thing. Then this is what the type of leaders we had back in those days. They didn't have understanding. They weren't conscious of what pleases the Most High. So they couldn't give the people what they needed spiritually. to bring the best out of them.
And there's a side point to it too. The second point says, but, meaning in contrast, he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days. So the implication or implied point is the prince that lacks understanding loves covetousness.
Yeah.
The guys that love covetousness or their personal gain or their personal come up, those are the men or the leadership that doesn't have understanding. They think
and oppress the people.
They think it's only about their benefit, only about their development, only about their posterity to being well off, only about their personal resources.
Mm-hmm.
So that prince that does not hate covetousness, he doesn't hate it because he loves the ideal of him coming up. So when you have a person in a position of authority that loves the ideal of them coming up and them accelerating, then the people have to be neglected for them to get what they need that's necessary for their posterity and their wealth. Therefore, they will oppress. They'll use the people, the lacking of the people, the ignorance of the people, the lack of understanding of the people, and the vulnerability of the people to gain. That's why they're great oppressors.
Cant.
And we have historically people in that position, that type of archetype of personality. People that don't, it is about them.
Yep.
And they do care, they do give a damn about their life.
Because it wasn't the fact that we had no leaders. We just had leaders that were about making their money. It's no different than when you go to these war-torn countries like, let's just use Guatemala, for example, this state and country that Cabo Cabo is in. They go through these elections. They go through all this pomp and circumstance. A guy gets elected, and it is known. This is what is said about all the presidents in Guatemala for the last 20, 30 years. They have breakfast in Mexico, and they have lunch, or they have dinner in like Salvador. I might have that second country wrong. But what's the point? They are blowing money fast. They're blowing Guatemalan expenses on lavish trips, misappropriation of funds, and the people get screwed over. And all these leaders of these countries, what they do, they sit back here and give their overlords in the United States their cut of all the natural resources and business endeavors they want. And then they keep the rest, and their job is to keep the mob controlled. And what happens after 3 to 4 years when the people had enough, what do? They take all their embezzled money and they put it into their mama's name. I'm not lying. They put it in their family's accounts, and then they go to another country. And they're rich, and their family's rich. Next guy comes in, guess what happens? I promise a different thing. Same thing happens. Misappropriation of funds. The people get screwed over. People are eating chicken that they're selling. They're putting chicken on the stick, literally. Raw chicken on the stick. Chicken looks yellow. It's been outside all damn day long. Flies are on it. And that's the chicken. That's the market chicken. You want that, G? You want fly chicken? It ain't the fly. It ain't that fly. It's fly chicken. You just got to scrub it off. You be all right.
It won't kill you.
Maybe. What's the point, though? Because they don't keep it on ice. They just keep it hanging. I synced it with my own eyes. What am I trying to say? It's a constant cycle of exploitation from the top. Most of these third world countries are this way. A lot of these uprisings are these leaders that are coming here and saying enough's enough. We have to actually bring these funds and give it to the people. But these countries that are under the umbrella of the United States, they're getting rich. The people stay poor. The corporations get rich. What's happening with our people is a lot of our people, even back in these days, the leadership just exploited our nation, took from the resources, didn't build armies up, didn't build walls up. What the hell's going on?
Oh, we're having financial.
Listen, for instance, Ezra's job was to teach the people. Ezra's job was to teach the people, get them in the book. What about the officials in the city? When Ezra was sitting back here and getting these guys to let go of their nation's women, which is a great thing, after that was done, who was going to step up and say, okay, we got to get this wall fixed? We got to sit back here and get an army. Can we get an army together, please? Can we organize this? That's the point. And the great leaders of our past had the ability to galvanize the people, bring them together, motivate them with their eloquent speeches and their wise speeches to get the most out of them, because the intention was to galvanize the nation together and not break them and not sit back here and be selfish. It's hard to teach a message of unity when you're an individual. It's hard to teach about coming together when you don't want to sit back here and lose nothing. You don't want to sacrifice anything. So with that being said, let's continue to go back in these verses. Let's go Jeremiah 18 and 16. Jeremiah 18 and 16.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 16.
Read that.
To make their land desolate and a perpetual hissing.
Perpetual hissing. This was one of the curses that was going to happen to our land and our people. When it says a perpetual hissing, what do you think that is? When people drive by on their horse and carriage and they look at Jerusalem, they're like, this is a shit city, man. It's like Detroit. In the hood. I'm going to say what I mean by that. What is Detroit known for? I'm talking about the hood of Detroit.
Bandos.
Abandoned homes that you can't even give away homes. You can't even give the property away because they're in bad neighborhoods and the properties are beat up.
Well, Detroit was known after GM General Motors left Detroit. Detroit was known for having the most abandoned cars out of any city in the United States. The city eventually just had to start towing cars out of the community because once a car broke down, it just stayed there. And so they said that people was living in them, you know, things was going down in them, people stashing stuff in them. They said they had the most abandoned cars out of any city in the United States.
Yeah.
And then Detroit was known for having became a ghost town in the 80s or 90s, where you only had actually one family or two families on the street of like 20 homes. It would be abandoned house, abandoned house, abandoned house, abandoned house, one family, abandoned house, abandoned house, abandoned house, one family. So what they had to do was tear down all the abandoned houses and give that land to that one family. And then tear down all the abandoned houses and then give that land to that one family. So it was only two people living on the whole street.
That's a perpetual hissing. Because the question is, how the hell did it get this bad? Because that was a predominantly black neighborhood. How did it get this bad with only two people on an entire block?
Economic breakdown?
But that's a hissing. That when it says it's a perpetual hissing, it's a perpetual conversation about how downgraded these people are. How messed up this block is. How messed up these streets is. How messed up this hood is. That's what's happening. And if you were honest, let's just use the East Side houses in San Antonio. If it wasn't for the gentrification of the city, would those East Side houses have been getting fixed?
No. And one more thing on Detroit. It was so bad that one guy was stealing all the manhole covers and
I heard that story.
And send them to the recycle. So
that's crazy.
So you be driving and you just car would just fall into a damn manhole. Blow! Fall into a manhole that's supposed to have a metal manhole cover on it.
That's hilarious.
But your car's getting blasted on the
bam. Listen, it ain't just your tires jacked up. Your entire suspension is all jacked up.
Car just
your axle is thrashed, bro.
Yeah. And then they finally caught the guy because they say City of Detroit on the manhole cover. So he's bringing them all to the recycle. One guy was bringing them all to the recycle, stealing all of them. So it was that bad.
That's a perpetual hissing.
And the reputation of Chicago, in a different sense, is known for being extremely violent. That's perpetual hissing too. Don't go to Chirac.
Yeah.
That's unless you're from there. If you're from there, it's a different story. But if you're not from there, you don't know who's with who. They don't do the colors like, at least LA, they'll have like colors like oh, this is red block, this is blue block. Don't go. There's organizations.
But I'm gonna say this: it ain't that easy. In LA, it's not that easy. This is the blue street. No, it's not. This is the blue. Let me remember. No, bro, it's not. It's street shift. You go down, you make a left eye. You made a mistake.
Oh no!
I'm not even lying. It ain't that easy.
Tom.
But keep going.
I'm just saying, bro. It's like city to city. There's a different type of hissing per city.
And the hissing is it's really broken down. But like I said, when the Spurs decided to build a stadium on the east side, all of a sudden homes were getting bought.
People care.
The road leading up to the stadium, people gave a shit all of a sudden, man.
Yeah.
But listen, but I tell you what, I don't know if you heard, the Spurs plan on making another stadium downtown. So guess what's going to happen on the east side? They're going to stop caring about the east side. So all that gentrification might stop where it's at because they're going to focus on downtown. Then what they said they're going to do, they're going to tear down the Texas Institute of Cultures, the Culture Institute. Yeah. They're going to tear that down and put a stadium right there.
Wow.
Good location.
That's a great location. But the point is, when they do that, what's coming to the east side?
Well,
it's going to be less and less. It's going to be less of a desire.
The only land you have down there at that point is project government houses.
Yeah.
So that means they're going to tear down those government houses.
The ones that are right next to the Institute.
Yeah. The ones that are still remaining. That used to be the Victoria Courts.
Yep.
That's the last of the Victoria Courts.
They're taking them courts out.
Them courts are gone.
They're going to be some high rises.
Yeah.
It's called Centennial Heights, I think. I think it's called Centennial Heights.
Point is, that's changing. Money's going to go there now. So it's going to stop going east and maybe go a little further south.
Yeah.
281 south, a little bit further down, you might see some development down there. Break some stuff up there. What am I trying to say? It wasn't like we'd be able to come together and refinance our own houses and reestablish our own neighborhoods. Would that happen? No. That's what I mean about being that perpetual hissing. Wherever our people are at, you're going to see a lot of downtrodden, economically broken down spots.
And that's why even there's a car on downtown that still have a little bit of their houses remaining. They all got signs in the yard that said, "Mi barrio no se venda." Mi barrio is not for sale. Because they know that if once they sell it, it's gone.
Yep.
Once you sell them little old school houses, it's over with. You'll never be able to afford to get back in them.
And what's crazy is those old school houses. Listen, I've been here for a little bit. In the early 2000s, bro, they were 100, 125, 140, 150. Them houses out here now, bro, 250.
No,
in
downtown,
your face.
Downtown is 400 for the old houses.
Boy, yeah, 400,000, bro. But that's just what it is. When they sit back and come and clean it up, they gonna make some money.
Yep.
They gonna make, and you gonna see a few things when you know it's gentrified. Edomites walking down the street,
walking the dog,
and walking the dog, and you gonna see those little bikes, those little like where they can ride those scooters. There's gonna be scooters around. They're like, what's going on? Scooters in the hood? Oh, it's not the hood anymore. And parks. Then they start making parks out of nowhere, bro. Start adding dog parks, and that's how you know it's gentrified.
Specialty coffee stores.
Starbucks. Yeah. Summer Moon coffee.
Yeah. Whole Foods.
Yeah.
You see Whole Foods, that ain't your hood no more.
Exactly. They actually have an HEB downtown. Right in the heart of the city. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
and they have all this they have this natural, they have organic stuff there. I said, what? This is crazy.
Organics in the hood.
Yes. Anyway, what am I trying to say?
Another HEB historically. That HEB's been garbage historically.
No. It was a new HEB they built in the downtown area. It's new. I'm serious. And they got little baby gas stations there too. Anyway, Jeremiah 18:16 again.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 16. To make their land desolate and in perpetual hissing. Everyone that passeth thereby shall be astonished.
The nations, he says, from the time that we fell onward, that land was going to be a place where we was going to be astonished and looked at and looked down upon, and the nation will be wagging their heads at us. And he says, they should be astonished. Read on.
Right. It says, and everyone that passeth thereby shall be astonished and wag his head.
And wagged his head. I mean like this. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. It's a damn shame.
Keep driving.
Let's keep going. Keep going, honey.
Yeah.
This is why I gassed up in Spokane.
Yeah.
So we can pass this area.
Yeah. Don't stop all the way at the lights.
Listen, I know we're in South Dallas. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Let's keep this. We're going to pass South Dallas. We're going to get to the center. We are not stopping in South Dallas.
They be having cops over there, though. The cops be sitting there.
This is where the first 48 is filmed.
Exactly.
It's the truth. It's the truth. South Dallas is where First 48 got famous on that. I'm not lying. They made so much money in South Dallas.
It's many episodes, many
A
stories.
lot of episodes in Dallas. Anyway,
That's a curse too.
that's part of the hissing
As a tale that's told.
and the wagging of the head. And I'm gonna say this. Don't forget, when we put the temple together, when we rebuilt the temple, the second time after Solomon had it, it was nothing what it used to be. You know what's messed up? The temple didn't get to an elite status again until when?
Herod,
an Edomite, got the money from Rome to rebuild it. We didn't get back. So another nation had to make the temple and Jerusalem look top notch again. That was the slap in the face the Most High did to us.
because a lot of people don't invest.
A lot of us don't want to invest. We can't come together. We're not going to spend the money. We're not going to do what we got to do to get it done. So the Most High had another nation do it. That's the sad reality about it. Okay? So, let this verse go. And go to Jeremiah 25 and 18.
All right. Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 18.
Let me type it in real quick. Okay. Yeah, let's read that.
Right. Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 18. To wit, Jerusalem and the cities of Judah and the kings thereof.
And the leadership. Read on.
And the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, and hissing, and a curse, as it is this day.
This is what's being said. This is what Sanballat and that guy Tobiah is doing. They're just laughing and clowning us and mocking us because of this crappy reputation that we earned, which is a curse. Because at one time, our leadership was elite, and we diminished to be in this low-level group of people who can't figure it out. And that's how you know, that's one of the ways you can tell who God's chosen were, is that diminishment. Who fell from grace? Who's looked upon as this downtrodden, hissing, weak people? It's not the white Jew, it's us. We can't come together to get anything accomplished. That's how you know we're the God's chosen people. Now our job is to fight to come together and help break this cycle, help break these curses, but ultimately it's going to be the Most High's doing. So, we got this verse, all these verses tie in to this crappy reputation that the nations have of us. Now let's get to Nehemiah again. Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 4. I think it's 4? Yeah, 4. Now, Cry, we got to get somebody else to do this because you got to get out here in a little bit, man. Let me see. Dawam?
Tahawam Rakha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Ashar, Ban Yasha Allah.
Dawam Rakha, Shah Shabbatah, Bayashar, Bayashar. I mentioned. Well, Yahweh Hashem Yashabbatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yashar Rakatham.
All right, sir. Baba?
Yeah.
Well, that's not big. Well, that's a better one. This one's a better one. This is better than that one as far as size.
Yeah, you can see clearly.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully we explain that reputation is a curse, how we're looked upon now, how we've been looked upon during the time of Nehemiah.
Yeah, we don't disdain our people. And
we love our people, but we got to be honest about our situation.
We cannot live in a false reality. We can't live in that false Nubian heritage that we are. What's that Black Panther movie called? The Vibranium?
Wakanda.
Wait, this is Wakanda. Man, come on, bro. This is not Wakanda.
This Vibranium, and we really have all this.
This is
technology.
not Wakanda. This is the reality of the people. This is ground zero for our nation. And if we don't sit here and get aware and awake, we're putting ourselves in the position. Sean Shawan had a whole class about it before, about how when Esau diminishes on the economic level, and when he's fighting for resources and he's lacking, that the people that are under him have it even worse. So our condition can get even worse if we don't sit here and wake up out of our sleep state. And it's our job as brothers in Christ and priests to do what? Sound the trumpet and bring awareness and clarity to the flaws of our nation, versus just strictly pointing the finger at other races and expecting other races to have mercy on us.
Yeah. Cant. Okay. You ready, Taiwan?
Yes, sir.
Let's read verse 4. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 4. So, let's go.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 4. Hear, O our power, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity.
First things first. What's beautiful about how Nehemiah handles the obvious setbacks that we have, because we have many setbacks, you're going to see a repeating theme in these chapters. Obviously, our backs are against the wall. Obviously, we're behind the 8 ball. Obviously, we have major issues with leadership and with initiative and with work ethic and with finishing things. And he's not even running from those realities. But what makes Nehemiah potent is he can acknowledge these things, and he locked his mind into praying and asking the Most High to overlook those obvious issues that we have, to give us enough grace to still accomplish this difficult outgoing and this difficult mission, regardless of what we're not strong at. Like Dawiyad said, this is not about bashing our people. This is about acknowledging where we're weak at and acknowledging that we need the Most High to pull us out of these circumstances. Without the Most High's mercy and love and patience with us, we don't have a shot. So we're better off acknowledging where we're off at, acknowledging where we're not clear with the Most High at. Take that and be humble, send our prayers up, acknowledge our fallibilities, and get to work. That's the lesson of this point. Acknowledge what you can't do and work on fixing it. That's what we don't want to do. Let's stop running from the fact that we don't finish things. We don't finish things. We do quit. We don't put our entire spirit into a lot of things. We half-ass a lot. Let's acknowledge that flaw and work on it and ask the Most High to help work us through these issues so we can get better and get close to the Heavenly Father and watch the Most High come through for us, because we're what? Because we're skilled or because we're humble? When you sit back and listen when Christ said, man will not live off bread alone, but by the word of the Heavenly Father, what's he saying? We're in a condition where we don't have all this talent and ability and skill. We don't have all these resources. We don't have all these answers and solutions. We got to live by faith. When we had things, we couldn't handle it. So now that we don't have it, we got to rely even that much more on the Most High's mercy and grace and patience and long suffering. Let's not forget where our bread is butter. We're behind the 8 ball. We've been cursed. Let's get back and pray and ask the Most High for help. That's what Nehemiah is doing. He's like, listen, he knew we're despised. That was part of our curse. Turn their reproach upon their own head and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. He's just saying, turn all those evil devices on their head and let them have to sit back here and operate on defense and look after us.
Yep.
Read verse 5.
Verse 5. And cover not their iniquity.
He's like, and don't wink at the shit you know they're doing. You know what wickedness they're doing. Expose that wickedness and sting them. Sting them for their conduct. Just like you stung us for ours. You know?
And let not their sin be blotted out from before them.
He's just saying, listen. Just like you saw us, measured us, weighed us, and corrected us, measure them and weigh them and correct them. Sting them for what they're doing and their plotting and their despising and hatred. Don't let them get away with that. Read on.
For they have provoked thee to anger before the builders.
Because he's like, listen, listen, they're provoking you to anger by trying to attack us and slow our progress down. But that, once again, that is the best solution to all of our problems. Pray and ask the Most High not to let the evil and the evildoers get away with their evil and allow us to keep doing our job, working on us. It still goes both ways. Us acknowledging our flaw and that we need the Most High. And if we can focus on working on us and Most High having enough grace and mercy to forgive us, but not to forgive another person's iniquity. Because we're in this jacked up condition for our own decisions and our own actions. We can't forget that side. But the prayer, every time you're going to read, every time there was an adversity, the first thing Nehemiah did was pray. He prayed and he reestablished and reset what the goal was and what the focus had to be. Then he went back to work. He sat back and prayed the Most High's protection. Then he went back to work. So, let's read on verse 5 again.
Verse 5. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee. For they have provoked thee to anger before the builders.
Mm-hmm.
So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work.
So what he's saying is, after they sat back here, after Nehemiah sent those prayers up, he reestablished the people. He got them spiritually locked in on their goal. From the counterclockwise position, the entire wall got completed to the halfway part. That was a hell of an accomplishment to get the wall built halfway. So it was halfway built all the way around. Okay? Now, let's keep going. No, matter of fact, no. Go to Proverbs 15 and 22. Proverbs 15 and 22.
Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 22. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 22.
Yes, sir.
Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. A man had joy by the answer of his mouth.
Read it again from the top. I'm so sorry.
Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 22. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established.
What he's telling us, in the multitude of spiritual counselors, in the multitude of, a leader coming together and galvanizing the people for one direction, the purposes can get accomplished. Nehemiah this chapter is a great example of what leadership really looks like. Being calm under pressure, staying spiritually steady, not getting swayed from bad reports and scary threats and all type of crazy scenarios, it is so important to see how Nehemiah navigated through all the adversity you're going to keep hearing him go through. How he navigates, how he handles it, how he spiritually responds to it, and then how he operates and delegates responsibility. It's the combination of being spiritual and actually being a leader and physically getting things done too.
Being competent.
It's not just a guy that's talking a bunch of spiritual hullabaloo and not putting the work behind it. That's the kind of man that we need to look up to and try to pattern ourselves after. Okay? So, let that verse go and go to verse 7 in Nehemiah. 4 and 7 and 4 and 8.
It's a lot in here, bro. It's a lot in here.
Huh?
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 7. But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites.
Listen, that's what you call the axis of evil eye.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the D-Justice League. That's all the bad guys, right? That's the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
It's Sanballat, which is the head of Samaria. Then you got Tobiah, which is the Ammonite head. Then you got the Arabians. You got the Ammonites. And the Ashdodites, which were the Philistines. Read on.
Heard that the wall of Jerusalem were made up.
Well, they're getting word that they halfway finished. Like, God, there's a problem now. Now they're a problem. Now we got to stop clowning. Now the jokes is over. And the now that whole mindset's changing. Now we got to start sitting back here and flex on these guys. Because they're going to be a problem once they get rebuilt. Once they get rebuilt with this wall, then they might sit back here and get an army. Then they might get organized. Then we can't stop them. That's the point.
You know, that thought process is behind anybody's mind frame that has been a colonizer throughout history. There's always a fear that the people that you've colonized will rise up and defend themselves against you.
And you know,
there's always a fear.
When that group is in grassroots movement, you laugh. Oh, these niggas is organized. Ain't nothing. They coming together a little bit, having a couple little BS rallies. Then all of a sudden they bring in guns.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on now. They're organizing. They're in different states.
They're boycotting.
They're controlling how they spend their money. They're only spending their money in their neighborhoods.
Their women are on code. It's not a gender gap. A gender split.
Yep.
Amongst their people.
Their women are together. They're controlling where they spend their dollars.
Yep.
Now it's like the wall is halfway built up. Now we got to infiltrate some guys in there.
Now we got to tear it down.
Now we got to bring some infiltrators.
Or like Tulsa, Oklahoma, we got to drop some dynamite sticks from some crop dusters and just blow it up. Yeah, because we can't have Negroes in the 20s wearing mink coats, and you got the white folks on the other side of the tracks wearing the same shoes.
Like it's of mice and men. Exactly.
You're right.
And that's the problem. And that's the scenario. And now the nations are looking at us, and they're taking us a lot more serious at this point, because Nehemiah's works have showed them that he can navigate these guys now. Now they're organized. Now they're a threat. They're a problem. Now they're coming together with it was just Sanballat and Tobiah talking. Now they're sitting back here having a meeting with everybody, saying these guys are a problem. They're becoming a threat. We need to counsel about a way we can kind of like stymie this construction and keep them broken. But this is how you maintain the colonization process of a country. Listen, how do you think Africa continues to get put in a situation? I use Africa because they're just so rich in natural resources. And in South America too. How do you keep these countries broken? You never allow them to organize enough to manufacture what naturally comes from the ground in their country.
Banana republics.
Yeah.
Listen, all we allow you to do is give you the tools to extract what's in your country, to ship it to us, to our processing plants. And we're not going to give you the education or the bank loans to build the infrastructure and the capacity to take what you got out of the ground manufacture it, and distribute. That's how you break a person. That's how you break a country. Listen, if I don't give you the tools you need to establish manufacturing, you can never sit back here and make real money in your country. You never become independent. That's the issue. That's what all of these quote unquote. That's what makes a third world country a third world country. People will look by and say these guys are broke. They ain't got nothing. Their running water is shit. But you know what? That's an infrastructure thing. And you need the financing to get that done. You need the people to teach you and show you. You need things to be done for you to set it up.
Africa's a great example of that.
And they're not going to let this. They're not going to sit back here and teach. And it's not that people aren't capable. They're not going to be taught how to. Same thing in the Philippines. Same thing in all these smaller countries. And if they do, you're going to be in their back pocket like Japan. You're going to sit back here and push every agenda that they do. If you're going to get that kind of power, they're going to have complete control over you. How did they do that? Listen, when Japan was acting naughty, guess what they did? We're going to drop some nuclear bombs on y'all dudes and submit you. Now you kiss the ring. Now we'll sit back here and industrialize your country after we break you.
That's common after every war.
That's the truth. But you know what they did? After the 2 nukes hit them, they kissed the ring. But before the nukes, they were sanctioning Japan too, and just sanctioning Venezuela. I don't know if you knew that. They sanctioned them so bad by controlling the shipping ports around them. They were forced to do something. People are this the aggressor Japan. They don't tell you that you force them to starvation first, and you force them to make irrational moves. Watch. When Iran sits back here now and bombs Israel, they're going to say, oh, the wicked, evil Iranians. They're making nuclear bombs. They're going to kill them. They don't tell you they've been killing Iranian leaders left and right, instigating a retaliation. They're only going to talk about the retaliation. When you read about Japan in World War II, they don't tell you how they were sanctioning them and bankrupting them with their sanctioning policies.
And for modern terms, when there was an assassination attempt on Trump in Pennsylvania, who are they blaming on?
Iranians. They're trying to set up a pretext to go to war with them. They've been saying this. They don't tell you all the things they've been doing to instigate Russia. They're trying to cut off. Listen, they're sitting on $300 billion of Russia's money. That was theirs, and we're going to hold this. And you know what we're going to do? First of all, they're trying to legally find ways to justify stealing the $300 billion.
And giving it to Ukraine.
And give it to you. But what they're saying is, we're going to take the interest from their account and give it to Ukraine. What? That's the first thing. We're going to take the interest off your $300 billion that's sitting in our account.
We're going to invest it to Ukraine. We're going to invest your
money. We're going to take your money and give it to Ukraine to fight against you. Wow. And now they're trying to go through legal process to steal the $300 billion to fund the fight in Ukraine.
That's enough to go to war about it. That kind of situation.
That was the first thing they did. That was the first thing that they stopped their SWIFT account. Because there is money they keep in a pool, so they can pull to do transactions quickly.
Is this oligarch money?
No, this is the SWIFT account that the United States controls, that is used for all global commerce and trade in the world. It's 300. This guy had 300 big ones.
Somebody froze your bank account. They froze your cash out.
Because we don't like what you're doing. but see, the reason that they're having to be gingerly about this $300 billion, because China's like, well, if you can take Russia's $300 billion, you can take our $300 billion. All the countries like, hey man, you can't do this. And this is why what Russia did is we're gonna sit back here and create a separate form of international payments.
The BRICS.
What BRICS isn't. BRICS is just a business organization. We're going to use a different form of paying that all nations can use without the threat of getting their shit taken. So there's like, if you take our $300 billion, now these other countries are going to back off and not play ball with you either. But they've been using this leverage on countries to bully and break them for years. Sanctioning. They think sanctions, you might be just hearing this now. They've been sanctioning people for 100 years. Listen, Iran's been getting sanctioned for 50 since Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah, but it backfired on them. It backfired on them because they wouldn't let Iran bring in any automobiles or any transportation automobiles from other countries. Iran started globalizing, nationalizing, creating their own automobiles
and becoming strong.
And now they have an automobile that only costs somebody $3,000 to make, and they sell it for $5,000. So now everybody in Iran don't want to buy outside cars no more
because the price is legit and it's well made.
And they got one that's in house, that's well made, and they're selling cars for $5,000, and everybody's happy in Iran. So they don't need global imports anymore. They've actually created their own hub.
But a lot of countries break.
Yep.
A lot of countries break in sanctions. Very few thrive. Like, listen, Russia's economy has gotten stronger because of the sanctions. Because they've been forced to go to different countries to survive and make shit shake.
And for young people, what is a sanction?
A sanction is, okay, we're not going to allow you to sell goods to Europe and the United States and our allies, Japan, Australia, Europe. That's what this is. Europe. The EU is just a big syndicate. EU, everybody's with the EU is with a big game. And you can't buy anything from them because they're going to block you. From England all the way to damn Romania.
So you can't go to that gas station. You can't work over there.
And you can't buy and sell. This is why they blew up Nord Stream. Because Russia was making money sending that gas over to Germany and fueling all of Europe's gas. And that's how they were making a big portion of their money. That's why John McCain said Russia is just a big gas station. That's all they said. They said Russia's a big gas station, and if we shut down the gas station, we'll break their economy. What they didn't realize is you cut off the gas station that kept all of Europe warm.
Yep.
They didn't care about them.
But you know what the problem is? So they were like, okay, now Europe is cold as shit, and we need gas. How are we going to get this gas? United States was sending them LNG, which is triple the cost that Russia was sending. So triple the cost they had to pay for. Guess who had to pay for that triple the cost? The consumer. So now small businesses are breaking down in Europe. The people can't pay their electric bills.
So it's like your cell phone bill being 3 times the price.
Well, the reason is because Russia would connect their gas pipelines directly from Russia right to Germany. So it was no cost. The problem is sending LNG. You have to have it in these refrigerated trucks or these refrigerated like systems, and to get it from all the way to the United States in a ship all the way to Europe cost the shipping costs ridiculous amounts of money. This is why having a pipeline going right to the source was the most efficient, cheapest way to get it done. So now Russia's something, and now they thought they can break Russia by they felt if Europe can just hold off just for a year, we can break Russia and take over Russia, take over their natural resources, and become multi-trillionaires. Because all the natural resources in Russia are in the multi-hundreds of trillions of dollars. Just in eastern Ukraine, the value of their natural resources is worth $100 trillion.
So this is why
I'm going to say it again. Yeah. What do you think they're fighting in Ukraine over? Eastern Ukraine.
Don't you got a map that shows up?
Yeah. And listen, Ukraine is worth. Let me see. So just Eastern Ukraine is worth over $100 trillion. The natural resources in the area.
So this is a money fight.
Every war is about money and natural resources. It's never about the fight for freedom, and that's all malarkey, bro.
You gotta hear that because young men are the ones that get put in
wars. Yeah, and it's under the idea of patriotism. No, this is about $1 trillion heist. Is it on here? It should be on here. Maybe it's on the other computer, and I sent it over here, but it's whack. Yeah, but I have a picture. I had one. I don't know if it's still on here. That showed it broke down Europe or Ukraine.
It's like half of Texas, you would say?
Well, it's the size of Texas. That's why it's so hard to defend it. Is that it? No, that's not it.
So Ukraine is the size of Texas.
Ukraine is the size of Texas, maybe even a little bigger. And that's why so much space that has to be covered and occupied. I got that image from Twitter, man. I did put it on this computer, but I don't know why I didn't save it on this computer. That's weird.
But you're saying the equivalent of Ukraine is the size equivalent will be around Texas.
Texas.
Now that's like half of Texas, because Texas with a lot of money when it comes to natural resources.
Yeah.
It's the same idea as cutting Texas in half.
Yep.
And they're trying to get the other half because that other half is worth $100 trillion.
Look,
so how are you?
Whoa. I want to paint it this way. Taking out, they already had Ukraine. United States. Ukraine was in the United States pocket already. They're using Ukraine as a pretext to get Russia. If I can sit back here and rile up Russia and defeat them and establish a regime change in Ukraine, Russia, the thought was, if we cut off their oil and sanction their oil and all their products, Russia would bankrupt and the people will want to eradicate Putin, and then we can put our own guy in there that will replace Putin, and we can have access to their natural resources, which is greater than that $100 trillion worth of stuff on the eastern side of Ukraine that they already were going to get. So it was about riling them up to start a sanctions war, to establish a regime change. But now it's blown up in their face because their economy has gotten stronger. Putin's approval rating is around 85%. He ain't going nowhere anytime soon. And they've already lost the war in Ukraine, and they're already talking about having Zelensky come up with some type of concession and backing out the deal. So that they're either about to have to do more crazy stuff, but they're losing the war, and there's no other military tactics that's going to take them out of the situation unless they bring the United States in the war. And that's going to be coming too, because they have no other choice. And that's the scary thing.
I don't know if you can download it.
Oh man, that's.
I don't know if you can see it.
Shoot, that's hard, bro.
Okay.
That's a lot of That's a lot. That's all in Russia too, bro. Which one is Ukraine? Anyway, that whole thing is Ukraine. Let's if you want to talk a little bit, I can go look for the back.
Yeah.
Or you want to go on the verse, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we're read verse 7 again. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 7.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 7. But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth.
So now when they realized that they had built a solid community where the breaches were those gaps and those breaks in the wall, that Jerusalem was vulnerable. So once they patched up those breaks in the wall, that means that they were completely solidified and armed all the way around Jerusalem. That means that nobody was able to just invade at their own pace and own desire.
Concept.
So now when you have a community that's rock solid and everybody's in on it together, and there's now a safety net amongst the community, that's a problem. Because then you don't need what? Think about it. When the Black Panthers were in the 60s, were trying to police their own communities, where they had men on guard on corners with shotguns, walking kids to school, from school, kicking out the drug dealers. Now you don't need what? You don't need the police. Now if you don't need the police, that means what?
There's money lost.
That's exactly
a business. Policing is a business.
Policing is a business. So now that's an unnecessary resource. We don't need you to bring your police force in to police the community. We got it. We'll take it under control. We got it under control. We'll police our own communities. So therefore, when we don't need your job. Those jobs are not necessary anymore. So think about when that becomes obsolete. That means the task force is not needed. That means the SWAT is not needed. That means the DEA is not needed. What else? The different alphabet groups. That's the gang task force is not needed. That's a job. Those are jobs.
And can I say this with what you're saying? So when you're looking at this defunding, quote unquote, because in modern times they call it the defunding of the police. What the Black Panthers were doing was taking the opportunity of job market for policing. But what is policing what is policing for? It's for the prison industrial complex. Where are the majority of black men?
Blacks and Hispanics.
Blacks and Hispanics. Majority of blacks and Hispanics are where? In prison. Prison is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So if you defund or if you make the policing obsolete, it also affects the legalized slavery in the prison industrial complex, which means that they can't make money off of prisons.
Yep.
That's billions of dollars lost. On that Shashuan's point.
Right. So then that and when you look at the history of policing, it comes out of Rome. The Romans were the Romans had too much empire to where they couldn't police the whole empire. So they set up police forces in communities that they didn't have enough manpower to put an army to keep the people subjected.
Wow.
And that was a Roman thing. The Romans created the police system that we follow today. They were called the Roman Polizei.
Oh, wow.
So that was a Roman thing. So where the Romans were able to put these small units and task forces to control a large population from a distant country. And that's what the police were for. Mm-hmm. So, but when you police your own community, you regulate your own laws, and you maintain the safety of your own community, you don't have a need for them. But when you don't need them, then you also don't need what they can bring to the table. How many dirty police officers has it been? I'm not saying all police is dirty. That's not. But how many dirty police officers have have abused their authority, abused their power,
falsely in prison,
set people up, implanted drugs on people
on camera,
or beat people, shot people on camera, or abused their power. Even a sister got shot in the face. She called the police, and ended up getting shot in the face by an officer that had already been removed from 7 different police forces, institutions, who never should have had a job, who got kicked out the military. This guy's background should have been checked a long time ago. But you have these people coming into your houses, coming into your communities,
mental issues,
with mental problems,
fear,
and over abusing their power. But when we have our own walls, we have our own security. We don't need anybody else's security. We don't need anybody else's oversight. But that's something that they fear. That's a problem because, like you said, that's an institution that gets paid. That's a business in itself. I just wanted to bring that out on this point. Why these nations will have a problem with this? Because we don't need them at that point. They become unnecessary.
Yeah.
And when you don't need the other nations, they have a problem because you don't need their products.
Because they have a parasitic perspective.
Yeah. It's about exploitation. Listen, it's parasitic, and it's I got to use you for us to sustain ourselves. That is the way of the world.
Yep.
Okay. So this was that image the brothers was talking about. I found it, and it's the numbers. It's not hundreds of trillions. I was wrong, but it is in the trillions on the east. The entire eastern area is 3.2 trillion, 3.8 trillion, 605 billion, 10 billion, 20 plus billion. That whole dark region, that's the east. But as that Kharkov is another 3.5 trillion, 685 billion. This is an old map. What Russia's at now is around here. They've been continuously pushing eastward, and they're already in this range. So the total natural resource in that area has to be around 10 trillion.
Wow.
Okay.
Trillion, that's 100. A trillion is 999 billion, right?
I'm just talking about the value of the natural resources. Now, on this image, it tells you what all these color-coded, what all the natural resources are.
What they possess.
But the color codes all of them, which brings why the value is what it is.
And that goes with the tech market, because when you're dealing with minerals, you're dealing with metals. What are metals used? When people was wearing jewelry, they're just wearing jewelry on the neck with minerals on.
No.
These minerals are going into the tech industry.
Yeah.
And the tech industry is a multi-trillion dollar
lithium,
billion-dollar industry.
Lithium, oil, manganese, gold, copper. There's silver mines. There's rock salt. There's zinc. There's all kind of stuff in these regions. On top of the soil, some of the richest soil on the earth that can produce wheat on a high level. That's not even to mention that because the whole east is the most fertile part of the country.
So food, tech, energy.
Yes.
Those are major
And that's just scratching the surface, because Russia has even more value than that. And that's what this whole war has been about in the first place. Okay? So, with that being said, you read verse 7, right, Shamshuan? Read verse 8 in Nehemiah 4 and 8.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 8. And conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem.
So they're sitting back here riling up all these countries to use their resources, in which we're surrounded, to cause havoc and get in the way and interfere construction. So think about this. All of the surrounding nations in the region are coming against them. That sounds like Psalms 83.
Yeah.
Let's go there. Psalms 83, verse 1 through 8.
This dynamic's been in Israel for a while, right?
What's that?
The Psalm 83 dynamic.
Yeah. But this it's not just about the present day UN.
Yeah.
This has been about all these nations as a whole have always gone against our people and any other country that's a threat to them. Okay? So let's get Psalms chapter 83 and 1 through 8.
Psalm chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Just like we're reading in Nehemiah. The nations have consulted against thy hidden ones, the ones that were supposed to be protected from this danger. Okay? Read on.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
When it says cutting them off from being how do you cut a nation off from being a nation? You cut off their defenses. You make them subservient to you. You eliminate their independence. You eliminate their financial independence.
You break the nuclear family.
You take away the resources that the Most High gave them in their land. Each country that our people are living in or inhabited or initially inhabited, they were blessed with the natural resources of that territory, and they should be the ones who reap the benefit of those natural resources. Whether it's the Venezuelans and their oil and their gold reserves that were stolen by the British, by the way.
Wow.
They stole their British. They're asking the Brits for their gold reserves. They're not getting it back. The Brits stole their gold. They have other natural resources in the South American region that all these nations want. But those natural resources were used to preserve their people, the inhabitants of that land. So he says, let us take them away from being a nation. It's not just killing them. Genocide isn't a part of it. But it's having a nation be subservient to another nation. Having a nation in debt is how you break them as a nation. Having them in debt and subservient to the imperial power is how you break a nation. There's no money in killing off an entire nation. There's money in developing debt slaves. You need people to work the mines to pull out the natural resources to make your company potent.
Yep.
I don't know if I saw a clip, and this is the Chinese did this, in Central Africa. They had these little African kids, bro. They're like going into these caves.
Dangerous caves.
To get like all these natural resources. I think it was a lithium or cobalt. And the problem is these caves collapse.
Yeah.
So one of these caves was collapsing, and it was an adult Hamite guy was pulling people out. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, this dude's a heroic ass job. Then it was 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm like, there's like 10 people in here.
Yep.
And they could have easily died and suffocated when it collapsed on them. This is every day just to get cobalt. They taking major risks, and they bring the younger kids in there because they're smaller. They can go in there and navigate easier than a grown-ass 6'3" dude. But the risk they're taking for some goddamn cobalt,
They're not getting the value.
They're just getting it. They're doing it for a job.
Yeah.
They're working a job just to get enough to to put food in their mouth, to buy some rice and bread.
Yeah.
Whereas the people are taking that natural resources and making millions off of it.
They refine it.
They'll give the people of the earth a job when they can sit back and take that item and make millions off it and not have to touch it. Not have to work half as hard as the indigenous people have to extract it. And not slavery. That's how you break a nation from being a nation.
That's modern colonization.
That is colonization. That's how you manipulate and control an entire population. Let them just focus on eating and making enough money to eat and feed their families while we sit back here and sustain and grow. But the funny thing is, not just Esau. China's in on it. Russia's in on it. All the imperial powers are in on it. The only difference is between Russia, America, and China is what better deal you get. No. It is in the world. They say when China comes to your country, they're going to take your natural resources, but give you a hospital and some roads and some infrastructure.
You get some.
You'll get a railroad. You'll get a railroad. You'll get a railroad. You'll get a hospital for your children.
You get a better deal.
And then the Russians, they'll give you a nuclear power plant. They'll give you a way to sustain some free energy.
And some weapons.
And some weapons. And the U.S. is going to give you some weapons, and they give you shit. The U.S. ain't giving you shit. They give you a bad...
No. They'll give you some... They'll give you some medical experimentation and some eugenics programs.
That's what I'm saying. You're losing more. But the United States gives you the worst... They give you the worst deal out of all the countries.
I got to say one
Russia gives you a little better. They give you some nuclear power. So you can get power in your country.
Oh, you might get some clean water. America might give you some clean water.
No, brother.
They might give you a plant to filter some water.
Barely. You might get a little.
You might get a Berkey.
You might get a Berkey out. Here's a Berkey system. $400 for you.
For your whole village.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
They'll give you the straws. You can sit there and drink from those filter straws.
Yeah.
You have 150 sips.
Yeah.
Sip well.
Yeah.
Be smart about it.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
With some vaccine. They're going to give you some vaccine.
Oh, hell yeah. No, come on now. We're going to get right gut slapped. Listen, luckily they ain't gonna listen 2.5 hours in before they think it's out.
They got robots. They got robots to do that. They got robots listening.
But this is what the nation...
You said it.
They'll give you different levels of deals, but it's still never the deal that make you independent and free from them.
Yep.
But see, this is what's happening where it says that enemies make a tumult, they that hate thee have lifted thee up, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
But even in what we're saying now, like how we have to pick and choose our words on the internet because they'll shut you down. We don't even worry about the monetization or nothing like that, but people that do survive off views and they survive off,
they're affected.
They're affected. Who their channel is their source of income. That's their business. You got to watch what you say. You have to watch what you say. Watch your words. Pick your words wisely because they control how you're distributed to the masses.
Yeah.
So this even in itself, even we as we're talking about this, are being pigeonholed by not having real freedoms to say what we want to say, speak how we want to speak, communicate to the people how we want to communicate. That's another way of control.
Yep. So this is how the nations have conspired from the olden age to break us. Read on in verse 4.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
When it says the name of Israel can be no more remembrance, the remembrance of what Israel once was. It's okay that we're American Negroes. It's okay that we're Mexicans. It's okay that we're Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and Venezuelans fighting over oil. But they don't need to know who they are. That was an aspect of control. And once that was already established, then let's keep breaking them on different levels. Let's take away their culture from them, their history from them, their knowledge from them, their capacity to ever gain enough infrastructure to challenge and rival us.
You take away their history?
Yep.
And the crazy thing, the Most High, believe it or not, as much as this is a curse, having no ability to reestablish ourselves and be a real threat to them, this has shielded us from the the brunt of these future wars coming up. Because I tell you what, listen, these Russians, if you're a Ruski, bro, you're going to get into some army fighting now. You're going to be fighting soon now. You might not feel it now because they're rotating their military guys every 3 months. They're giving them a break. But they're going to be targeted for World War. And if you are a Russian citizen, they're going to be coming after you. Because they're going to need as much help as they can get. It's going to be no different than how it was if you was a German citizen in the 40s or on the teens, the 1900s.
Yeah, I was reading about this one 19-year-old kid who he wrote a letter to his mother, and he got to the front line in Russia. He was dead within 2 months.
Brother.
He didn't even last 2 months on the battlefield.
Listen, that's life, bro. I'm gonna say this. They said that the Ukrainians had even less time. They said the Ukrainians don't last 5 days. Listen, it sounds funny, but it ain't. Because when you sit back here and get 2 months of training, and they throw a gun in your hand, and you go to the front line, that don't feel good.
Yep.
Don't forget, Russia has gone through 4 separate armies of the Ukrainians. This is their 4th army.
Oh, Buzz don't get.
And each army gets less training time and preparation. And you're just getting thrown out here without a lot of equipment. They have to be very sparing on their rounds. They only have so many rounds they can use a day. They don't have air support. If you don't have air support in fighting a war, you are toast. Then tanks can just destroy you. Tanks can just sit back here and dominate a war if there's no proper air cover.
Yep.
So you got tanks, you got explosives, they got incendiary bombs that they blow when it hits the ground, everything turns into fire. Listen, it's easy to be gone in 5 days. Easy. And you're supposed to hold it. You're supposed to hold this area. Listen, over the last 2 weeks, I can't count on my hands how many stories I've heard about Ukrainians being forced to stay in a certain spot, or they'll get shot by their officers. That's what it is. If you retreat, you get shot. So you're going to die here miserably, or try to retreat and get shot.
But the officers can retreat.
Yeah, the officers. They'll say, we're having a meeting. We'll be back. And they won't come back for like 2 weeks. And they give another guy responsibility to say, if the guy leaves, shoot him. That's war. Why am I saying this? Who wants to sit back here and go fight?
Well,
all y'all young dudes here. Y'all want to touch that smoke?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Be the black guy fighting in the Ukraine and shit out. You want to be the black guy catching that smoke? There was this black guy fighting for the Donetsk army. I know he was an Ishmaelite guy, and I remember him because I was like, "Wow, this Ishmaelite dude's fighting for the Russians." And then they said, "R.I.P. this guy, Commandant." I was like, "You can be all that R.I.P. shit. You stay back in your hometown and go back to your country." Versus trying to be a tough guy and fight a war that ain't for you.
They're talking about France is talking about putting troops on the ground soon.
They're already doing that, man.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing. This is how they're doing it now. They're doing it by sending French legionnaires to Ukraine. So France has already sent their legionnaires to Ukraine, but what they say is legally French legionnaires aren't officially part of the French army. But they are. They're French legionnaires. They're just like, it's like Blackwater or Wagner.
Yep.
It's a separate side unit that represents French. Is down there fighting. So French is already out there fighting.
It's a franchise.
They just have it's like this. Blackwater is a military group that is connected to the United States, but not officially United States. So when Obama sat back here and sent back all the troops from Afghanistan, or no, it wasn't Obama, it was Biden. Everybody, like, why are you sitting back here sending your troops away? Or they would no, Obama sent them from Iraq, and they praised it as a great deal. But he sent the regular troops, but he kept the Blackwater troops in Iraq, and he sent Blackwater troops in southeastern Syria, so they can take the gold from the oil from the Syrians. They don't tell you that. Yeah. They don't tell you that the United States is in the southeast region of Syria, where Syria is rich in oil and wheat. And they had convoy pictures of 15 United States trucks driving out of southeastern Syria to Iraq and sending the oil to a side connect in Iraq and sending the oil back to the United States. They don't tell you this stuff on television, but this was really happening in the world, bro. They're robbing and stealing countries resources for their own capital gains. That's the game.
But the relevance to you is that they're thinking about passing laws to reopen conscription. Conscription is the draft.
Yep.
The draft means you have no say-so if you're in the military or not. If you're from this age to this age, 18 to this age, then you're automatically drafted.
Normally it's 1825, right?
I don't remember.
Anyway, the point is,
but that puts the position. I don't care what you're doing. If you're of this age range, they can put you in the military in an expendable position.
So we better hope and pray the Most High keeps us black folks under the radar. Let these Ruskies and let these European dudes do this. Let's pray and hope. We've been the downtrodden nation. We're the forgotten nation. Let it be that way. Because when all this stuff goes down, you don't want to be anywhere in that region.
We don't speak Ukrainian language nor Russian language.
Brother, you don't want to be in that. That is a damn meat. That's a damn, what do you call it? That's a meat grinder. That's a meat grinder. They called it a meat grinder. Some of these places out. They've called those places meat grinders.
A human meat grinder.
Yes. Whether it was no, not Donetsk, but anyway, there were certain cities literally called meat grinders because you just bring people in there to die, and they were just sitting back. I've seen pictures of like there was enough bodies to fill a 26-foot truck. That's not funny. I'm gonna tell you this. Listen, these people's faces were purple. They were decaying, flies. And they were just loading as many bodies as they can in a 26-foot truck. That's just after a battle.
Or they had those mobile incendiary units where they just burn them they just cremate them on the spot.
Maybe.
They're cremating people your age, which means that you can be in that position, but you're not seeing.
Well, what they don't tell you is in Ukraine, if you're a young man, they just take you off the street. Let's just say let's say you want to get out and just get a cup of coffee right now.
Yeah.
The walk from here to the coffee shop on Valero, that could be the last day your mama ever sees you. You think I'm lying? They will sit back and snatch you, 3 or 4 military guys, and throw you in a truck, and you're never seen again. They go house to house, knock on doors, and they inspect your house. And they look in your rooms, and they see if there's any male hiding. And they'll pull him out of the house. They'll pull him out of the car where he's hiding in the car. They're doing this consistently for the last year. Then they'll send you to Hungary, or they'll send you to Poland, maybe to Britain. You get a 2-month training, and you're off to war. And that's it.
That's real.
I saw one of these fights where this Russian guy had a camera on him, and they sat back here, and they caught this guy's flank, and there was 2 Ukrainian guys. And they said, drop your gun. Drop your gun. And the 2 Ukrainian guys just froze. They were scared. They weren't trying to sit back and shoot back. They were speaking in their little flipping Ukrainian language, but they were panicking. And what did the Russian guy do? Pop, 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 pop. Got out of there. Listen, I'm like, that was flipping hard damn core. But they said, listen, let your guns go. Let your guns go. And they just kept talking. And they were like this. But their guns were in their hand. He took them out. I'm not playing this game with this dude. You want to keep your gun in your hand, I got to kill you. And I got to move on.
And the reality of it is, when you're
when
you're playing video games, Call of Duty and this and that, what you're not seeing is that they plan on putting your real body in those video games. Right now, it's a game in your living room. But on a governmental level, when there's need to get these resources, the same guys playing the games, they're going to ship you in to be in the game.
Yeah.
Literally.
And there's no restarts. There's no restarts.
And there's no restarts, and there's drone weaponry. Where you look at, there's drones, you're fighting machines. Sometimes you're not even fighting, you're not able to see the person you're fighting.
Bro.
People don't get that. When you can see somebody you're fighting, we have this mindset of I can shoot. I'm a badass guy. I'm tough, but you're not tough when you can't see the drones.
All I can tell you is I've seen multiple video footage of these like three or four regiment guys going forward. They're going through in the bush. They got to see they got to focus on what's in front of them. Mm-hmm. And then they sit back here, and a drone is coming from behind that. They just drop this canister, and all of a sudden they hit the ground. And their body's shaking. They're sending nerve gas on people out. and they're dying a violent
death,
brutal death.
Yes,
Look,
nerve agents or they have the toxicity of nerve agents usually makes you convulse so much that your muscles convulse so much that you break your own bones.
Yeah, bro.
That's how, or you rip your muscle off your bone. That's how bad you go into convulsions when you're dealing with nerve agents.
Or they'll have a drone. There'll be 15, 20 men in a building, posted up, holding their responsibility. The garage door of the house, because they're in villages, is open. They'll have these wily Russian. This is a division, a drone division. These guys sit back here and are bringing this damn drone into the garage. And then the guy's looking around and he looks up. He's like, oh shit, he sprints into the house, which is the worst thing he could have did. Should have sprinted out the house. He sprints in the house and this thing goes right in the garage, and the whole house blows up. Whoever's 5 to 10, they always have reconnaissance, 5 or 10 people are in the house holding position. Listen, this is real. That's the word. You don't even have a fair chance in that situation.
You're in a real.
You don't have a fair chance.
Yeah.
This is what's happening to people now. So it is why. First of all, it's the Most High's mercy that our people aren't involved in this.
Yeah.
That's one.
And our people are involved in it because they're snatching Cubans up, thinking that they're getting jobs, and Ukrainians are tricking Cubans, Manasseh, to go fight in Ukraine. And then they write letters home and said this wasn't a job interview. They signed me to the military unit.
Yep.
So they got a bunch of Cubans right now in Ukraine that have been lied to that said they were taking jobs. They thought they were on a job interview. And now they got Cubans fighting
that's a bad job right there, bro.
Yeah, you didn't know you were signing up for that.
Exactly.
All I know is we better stay the hell out of that as much as we can. And what are we saying? Let's go back to Psalms 83. These nations have consorted against us for many years, many generations. And let's read verse 5, sir.
Psalm chapter 83 and verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
All these nations from the time of Nehemiah, they've been confederate to break us, confederate to keep us downtrodden and weak. Read on.
The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes.
We just read about in Nehemiah chapter 4 how the Ishmaelites, how Moab and Ammon were coming together. The Hagarenes are just a different tribe and family of the Ishmaelites.
Mm-hmm.
Hagarenes. Read on.
Gebal and Ammon.
Ammon, the guy was Tobiah of Ammon. Read on.
And Amalek.
And as we're reading, Edom and Amalek are of the same nation, but they operate separately. And we know that even in real life today. That Amalek is that one lone crazy nation in Israel that's going against all of the Arab countries around them, and America, which is Edom, supports them. Okay, read on.
The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
The Philistines, which were referred to as the, what was that verse? As the Ashdodites. The Ashdodites, which is the capital city of Philistines, they're talked about in Psalms 83 and in Nehemiah.
They're Hamites.
Well, no, I can't say that. Well, they are the Philistines. The Philistines, yeah, they are Hamites. They are the lineage of Egypt, the Mizraim people, the Egyptians. Okay, so yes, they are that. Read on.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur is the Assyrians. Read on.
They have hoped the children of Lot.
So what are we saying is all these nations have always been against us. All these nations, these are all the nations surrounding us in the region. And they all wish for our downfall. They all expect us to fall. They all want us to fall.
And even today, it's the same nations. The ones that control all your hair care products.
Mm-hmm.
They control all your gas stations. They control all your little your Slurpee machines.
Yep.
They control every little thing that you do, that you spend your money on, and they're still there, even though you come in their stores and they say, brother.
They're the ones on
They're
the ground. They're the ones on the ground, in the streets, in the hood, exploiting us. You know what I mean? You have the top dog who is exploiting us nationally.
Amalek is there too. When you need a title loan for your car and you need a quick money loan, that Amalek is controlling that.
Don't forget with a 26% interest rate too.
Yeah, crazy interest rate.
Listen, but what I'm saying is that they're the ones that are powers that be that set the system up. But these are the ones who are on the ground in the hood with you, sitting back here and dealing every day with you. Esau ain't sitting back here in our face on the east side. But all these other nations, they're in there in the thick of it with us, in the hood with us, exploiting us. Okay? So let's go back to Jeremiah 4. Matter of fact, no, not yet. I want to go one more chapter. This might take us over the hump, but let's do it anyway. We're going to take our time today. Judith chapter 5. I'm going to read the entire chapter. Judith chapter 5. It's going to be 2 days for this one, bro. Judith chapter 5, verse 1 through 24. Because this gives us an understanding about how the entire region has always felt about us and why the entire region felt the need to keep us broken down, without a wall, without protection, living day to day in fear, and living day to day without spiritual stability, financial, military, and leadership security. Okay? Judith chapter 5, verse 1. In the Apocrypha, Judith. Read that. You're good. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but listen, those Ukrainian drafts, they're drafting like 17-year-olds. How about that? How about them apples?
Yeah, he is able-bodied. We need people that are able-bodied.
They just hit a body. Listen, they're sitting back here taking criminals. Now the jails, there ain't a lot of people in jails no more.
Yep.
The jails are low.
It's better to be in jail.
I know.
You would rather be in jail.
Listen, they're taking people out of the loony bins, people with mental illness. Just hold this place, and we'll just put you in the front as cannon fodder. That's what we need. We need you to dig this ditch.
You're a bullet sponge, dude.
You're gonna dig this ditch, and you be the first to take a bullet. Listen. How about them apples?
This is business. This is business.
This is for the Ukraine.
And they're negotiating, dealing with bringing the women on too.
I know. They've been sending women on.
That's next in the working.
They've been sending some women already. They've been allowing women to go in.
That's how you know.
Thanks to feminism.
Yeah, you know it's bad.
All the subscribers of feminism, that has put you in this position.
Yeah, you go ahead and wrestle with these grown ass 6'4", 220-pound Ruskies.
And we just
you
saw
go wrestle with them.
We just saw this
see how it goes
in the Olympics. We just saw this in the Olympics. They want to push this mixing of sexes in the same arena.
Yeah.
This lady just died. She boxed this dude that was, I can't say the wording because you already know how it goes.
Are you sure that was the Olympics?
Yeah.
You got to make sure. No. You said the person died.
Yeah, she died.
I think that's a different arena. No. The Italian lady that fought that other person. No, that was Morocco. Point is, that woman didn't die. I've heard that other story, but that wasn't in the Olympics. That would have been talked about. Now, that woman that fought, she fought from 15 seconds and quit. Yeah. That Italian lady. But I don't think that story you're bringing. I've read that, but I don't think that's in the Olympics. I think that was on a different type of platform. Because if a person died at the Olympics, that would have been a major story. That's not the Olympics. It wasn't Olympics. I'm not, because people have been throwing that out there, a lot of news out there about these scenarios. That was maybe a separate pro fighting league, okay. But that wasn't. I just want to make sure we're clear because people have chopped us up online for that. That Moroccan lady or that person fought the Italian lady. She quit after 15 seconds. Just couldn't handle it. But that one, it was a different story.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we're clear for the record. But you got some more on that?
That's cool.
Okay, let's continue. Let's go to Judith chapter 5, verse 1. I did hear the story though. I heard both stories, but they're two separate stories.
Yeah, I shouldn't have put the Olympic concept in there.
Okay.
I agree. So
okay.
No problem.
Let's go. Let's do Judith chapter 5.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 1. Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur.
So what's happening, leading up to this chapter 5, the Assyrians are running roughshod throughout the region. And all these different countries are bowing to this chief captain and conceding and choosing not to fight this man, this country, Assyrian, when they were on top. The countries are conceding and they're choosing to pay tariffs and taxes instead of fighting this mighty army that's rolling through the region. The same region we're talking about. Read on.
That the children of Israel had prepared for war.
They're the only ones that say, man, forget this. We're going to lock it down and fight. Read on.
And had shut up the passages of the hill country.
So what they're saying is that the Jews have shut up their path, the Assyrians' path, to continue to go down through Israel and their region. We've talked about before, I forgot the name of that land, that road. There was a road, that flows from the north through Israel and makes its way all the way down to Egypt.
Yeah, you got a picture.
I forgot that. I got a picture. I just forgot the name of the road, man. This is it. Is that it? That's not it. Give me 1 second, y'all. It's so much information over time, and it gets hard to remember all this stuff. I'm not in line to you. The road. Is this the road?
To where, to Egypt?
No, it was just a road that went through Israel.
A major trade route.
Yes, it was a pathway that all the armies normally go through versus going through the damn what do you call it?
The Assyrians used it.
Yeah, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, all of them did. Instead of going through the desert, it was a more efficient way.
Special word there.
It's called the highway, a name.
Not the King's Highway.
It wasn't King's Highway, no. Darn it. The amount of time it's going to take to find this might not be worth it. It's in there. I just can't.
Right there. Is that it right there?
I don't know. Yes, it is. I think. This is the stinking path if they just give me the name of it. No. This is the path. I've talked about it multiple times. I just don't. It's just hard to remember, man. That's not the one. But we're getting close because it's a little further. This is the one. Via Maris. Yep. That road, that Via Maris pathway, is called Via Maris. And it takes you all around the coastline. But what's happening is the Jews are sitting back here and cutting off Assyria from getting down through their land to get all the way down throughout the region. So the Jews are preparing for war. It's the Via Maris. Okay, read on.
That the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills and had laid impediments in the Champagne countries.
Mm-hmm.
Wherewith he was very
The wine countries. Okay, read on.
Wherewith he was very angry, and called all the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and all the governors of the seacoast.
So what he's saying is this guy Holofernes, which is from Assyria, which is on the east near Babylon, he gathered all the kings that already bowed down to him, which was the Philistines, the Tyrians, Zidonians, the Ammonites, and the Moabites, to get a better understanding of this new enemy. Okay, that's not giving in to our request for them to be vassals. Read on.
And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is.
Those people are sons of Canaan because they're sons of the region. That whole area was referred to as Canaan. So you're like, you sons of Canaan, let me know why the hell these Jews or these Israelites are giving me so much static and not letting me clear and ready for war. Do they know something I don't know? Read on.
That dwelleth in the hill country. And what are the cities that they inhabit? And what is the multitude of their army? And wherein is their power and strength?
So he's trying to find out reconnaissance. Like any military captain would want to know. How many people do they have? What are their fortified cities? What type of weaponry do they have? What do I need to expect before I go take them down? Read on.
And what king is set over them, or captain of their army?
And what's their religion? What's their strength? What's their confidence? I need to get an idea about these Jews. Read on.
And why have they determined not to come and meet me, more than all the inhabitants of the west?
He says the entire west, this entire region, has given up their hand and said, we're going to help and support you. How come they haven't done it? What's going on with them? So once again, this is the question he's asking the leaders and the political figures of the entire region. And the people of the region already had a great understanding of the Jews. And he's going to explain this right here. Read on.
Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries. And there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. This people are descendants of the Chaldeans.
It's like these people are descendants of the Chaldeans. Those are the people that reigned and operated where? In the land of Ur, in Babylon. Okay? Don't forget the Chaldeans were different type of nations all wrapped together in the land of Babylon. Okay? So they were the Hebrews that were staying in Babylon. They're from the Chaldean lands. Read on.
And they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea.
So he said these particular people, which were Hebrews, broke off from the rest of their Hebrew compatriots in the Chaldean lands and didn't follow the gods of the region. Okay? So
like what time period? Abraham, right?
This is Abraham time. Don't forget, there were still other Hebrews in that land. Just Abraham's seed broke off from other Hebrews. Just because you're Hebrew don't mean you're an Israelite. That's another thing also. Just because you're Hebrew doesn't mean you're an Israelite. There were other Hebrew people that kept the culture of the Chaldeans. Abraham and his seed left. Okay, read on. Specifically. Read on.
For they left the way of their ancestors and worshipped the power of heaven, the power of whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their powers, and they
fled.
And they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days.
Okay, so they left. Present-day Iraq, the land of Babylon, went to Mesopotamia. That's literally from the land of Haran all the way down to the south of Israel. Read on.
Then their power commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle.
So once again, this is a Moabite or an Ammonite saying this. This is a non-Israelite, knows our entire history from the inception.
And a lot of those nations, believe it or not, know our entire history from our inception. They're recorded on camera on YouTube. They talking about, yeah, we know who you are.
Yeah.
Please come back home. They're getting killed, bro. They're like, come home and stop this war. Because they know the prophecies and everything, bro.
I'm gonna say this. There's no way we would come back home and be accepted, bro.
No, I'm talking. There's a woman online, and she's saying we need your people to come back because we know the prophecy says when you come back in power, we will no longer be in subjection.
But this is the carnal-minded person.
Yeah.
An Edomite will read a prophecy and say, I'm supposed to do this. Let's us do this. The Most High says, wait upon who?
Wait upon me.
Wait upon me.
Me except the Lord.
Exactly. That's what has to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue. What verse are we at?
Verse 10.
Okay.
But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan.
So now we're at the point where the famine was in Canaan. That's with Jacob. It was Abraham, Isaac. Now, Abraham and Isaac was where all the success and the riches were gathered. Now we're in the time of Jacob when the famine hit.
Yep.
Okay, read on.
They went down into Egypt and sojourned there while they were nourished.
So they were nourished and taken care of when they made that trip to Egypt. Read on.
And became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them, and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring in brick, and made them slaves. Then they cried unto their power, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues, so that the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And the Most High dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai, and Kadesh Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness.
So he sent them out of Egypt and sent them to the wilderness. Read on.
So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon, and passing over.
So what they're saying is, once they got to the wilderness, they're just kind of speeding up the process. After the 40 years, they start working their way towards the Amorites. The Amorites' land was east of the Jordan. So they passed through east of the Jordan. They took out the Amorites, Esbon, and all those kings, Sihon and Og. Sihon and Og were the kings on that side. They took out those kings, crossed over the Jordan to the west. Now they start working their way to Canaan. Read on.
And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Sychamites, and all the Girgashites. And they dwelt in the country many days.
They took out the Shechemites, the Girgashites, and all those ites in that region. They kept going west. They didn't finish, but they wiped out a lot of people. Read on.
And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered.
And this is the key. The reason we're going through this 24-verse scenario is the fact that the nations understood if they weren't sinning, they prospered. This is why our enemies now keep us drunk, keep us high, keep us chasing from one lust to another lust, keep us defiling us on our Sabbath, defiling ourselves with the wrong foods. As long as we keep breaking the laws, we'll never have a chance of getting out. The nations knew this hundreds and hundreds of years ago. As long as they were corrupt, as long as they were chasing that dollar, as long as they were sitting back here and making money their God, as long as they were taking advantage of one another and keeping them broke, keeping them in a lower state, they'll never reconnect with the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs.
Babylon. Read on.
And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
Cant. So it's telling you that when we didn't lock in, we were taken out as captives and put into slavery. Read on.
But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
This is the same thing that Sanballat and Tobiah of Ammon were talking about when they had that meeting with the Tyrians, Zidonians, and the Philistines, and all the people that were surrounding the country when they were building up the wall halfway. What do we need to do to ensure that they corrupt themselves, so that when we do come against them, we will be successful? This was part of the conversation they had in the 400s during the time of Nehemiah. If we keep them broke, we keep them broken down, we keep them, if we can try to manufacture them to sin, we can overcome it, we can break them. This was understood time of Judith. They understood that they seen enough patterns to know we can take them down if they're sinning. We're going to take an L if they're not. Read on.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power before them. and we become a reproach before all the world.
So he's like, listen, if they're on point, just go the long way. Just go around them and forget about them to save your honor and the respect of your nation, because you're going to take a loss, and we're going to take a loss. So this Ammonite guy was right on point when he was describing our people and our situation.
Shows you they know our power source.
They knew our power source. They had enough records of us to know to tread lightly with us. But as long as we were impoverished, broken down, with no stability and no leadership, they could sit back here and win. This is why what you're going to read even with Nehemiah down in chapter, I think, 7 or 8, they want to sit back here and kill him. Instead of invading the country, they said, hey, well, let's have a talk, man. Let's have a council and
outside,
talk about business.
They try to lure him outside
the city. Let's talk. I just want to talk to you for a minute. He was, I'm busy. I'm busy doing work. I'm so busy, I can't go out there and work and talk to you. But they kept trying to pour him out to kill him, because if they can assassinate Nehemiah, the door opens to corrupt the rest of the people. Because obviously, what's not talked about in Nehemiah 4 and 3 and 2 and 5 is that the leaders and governors, Sanballat and these guys, had the leaders of the Israelites in their back pocket. Something had to happen to where they had them under their back pocket to keep the rest of these people under control. How else can you control the nation but by bribing and controlling the heads? That's what's not explained, but that's what's happening. How do you keep anybody under control? I don't have to physically be in your country. I just got to have the head in my pocket. You're going to read, as we continue and we get past Nehemiah, this is what's been happening to us from the beginning. The heads and the powers that be would go to the top guy or to a guy that's in ranking position that's like 4 or 5 in the nation.
We'll fund you.
We'll fund you to sit back and set up a coup against the head. That's what we're going to read this literally by the time we get to September about coups and funding and backing certain groups inside the country to break it down from within.
Next in command.
You find the sellout.
And you got to find the sellout, because there was no leader that had the clout to override Nehemiah, because Nehemiah had the king's signet with him. He had the king's signet, so you couldn't sit back here and contend with that guy. That's why everybody had to listen to him, like they had to listen to Ezra. But without that king's signet, you're what do you call it? You're exposed.
Yeah.
To getting wiped out and killed. So that's what's happening. Let's continue.
Verse 22.
Yeah.
Verse 22. And when Achior had finished these sayings, all the people standing around about the tent murmured, and the chief men of Holofernes and all that dwelt by the seaside and in Moab spake that he should kill him.
Listen, people don't want to hear bad news. I don't give them if you're Israelite or non-Israelite. People don't want to hear the fact that you're going to lose if the people of God are with you.
Messenger.
No, listen, the message. Listen. Whether you're trying to teach, whether you're the prophet trying to tell the king some bad news, get prepared for some repercussions. They was talking about literally, man, we're gonna kill this guy. I don't like what this guy's saying. I don't like this guy's message. Read on. 23.
Verse 23. For say they will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel.
Then that pride kicks in. We ain't gonna be afraid of these dudes. Who is that? They ain't got our numbers. I want military talk. I don't want all this other job talk.
Well, it's house bunch of ground.
Listen, how many people they got? What kind of guns they got?
Yep.
What kind of swords they got? That's what I want to know.
Yep.
Read on.
For lo, it is a people that have no strength nor power for a strong battle.
That's what I just said. They don't got the numbers. They don't got the horses.
Yep.
They don't got the ammunition. They don't got the steel. They don't got the iron. Read on. Or the training. Listen, don't forget, the Hebrews' armies from the beginning were militias. You know that, right? They weren't trained armies. Like the Babylonians and the Assyrians. We were farmers, They said, go and get your sword out the shed, man.
Some black boys come together.
Let's come together. Let's get you some fire. Get you a lamp and get you a sword and let's go. That's what was happening, That's what we had. We didn't have like trained armies that from the age of 20, maybe during the time of Moses and Joshua.
Yeah.
But after that, no. But even Moses didn't. They had to wait till Joshua trained armies. Moses was doing it a little bit, but that was, listen, once we got in, we got comfortable. Don't forget, once we conquered, we got comfortable. Everyone went to his own house. If everyone went to their own house, there was no army. Maybe your dad taught you some kung fu, some karate, maybe. But it wasn't anything organized.
Yep.
What you gonna say, Sean?
No, that's why David was came out against Goliath, and all the other children of Israel were scared because they said that Goliath had been trained since a youth. He was a known warrior, trained since his youth to fight. The Philistines were no joke. They kept up a military going. They kept up an army, and they were training religiously, just like the Romans. Romans drew blood in their training.
Yeah.
Often.
Goliath was clowning the Hebrew militia. Listen, David went to give his brother some meat and cheese. He had meat and cheese and some bread. And he was watching this guy clowning him, talking about him for. It was like I think it was like a week. It was a week. Goliath was laughing and talking about him how they wasn't nothing, and they would have sitting back here just getting talked about. Because Saul didn't want to make a move. And then David said, "Man, why is this uncircumcised heathen? How dare this guy talk about y'all like that? What's going on? I'll take him." And his brother's like, "Go home, man. Go home, man. This is above your pay grade.
Bad, but you ain't eating nothing, boy.
Are you better than us? Boy, get out of here, man."
I'm bad.
Listen,
You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing, man. I'm bad.
listen, in a micro shell, that's what happened. I don't know whether I'm bad for it.
You ain't bad.
Listen, Goliath was talking about him for weeks leading up to that.
Yep.
But so this is what's happening. Let's finish verse 24 and we'll get out of this chapter.
Verse 24. Now therefore, Lord Holofernes, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thine army.
Listen, what ended up happening is Holofernes got killed, got his head cut off by Judith. That's the end of the story. Mosiah sat back here and came through for us. We didn't have the power to beat the army, but the Most High still came through for us and used
his way.
A valiant person to do his will, like it always happens. He's never going to sit back here and just let us, not at this point, beat another nation hand-to-hand combat. He's like, nah, y'all are weak. The nation was weak, and he was a woman that raised her up because of her faith to take this guy out.
Yep.
That was a reminder to us that we weren't nothing, and we better sit back here and always remember we ain't nothing.
And submit.
And submit and pray. And ask the Most High to deliver us before we make any endeavor or enterprise. So, let's go back to Nehemiah 4. I went all the way there to explain how much the nations counsel about us, how much they knew about us, and why they set plans into motion to keep us stifled and broken down. How they use different people and influence and leadership in our nation to keep us stifled and broken and disconnected from the Heavenly Father. Are we clear? Okay, let's go back and get verse 9. With all that being said, Sanballat and Tobiah are talking about ways we can come and infiltrate and go to war and and fight Jerusalem. This is verse 8. And conspired all of them together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to hinder the construction at halfway. Okay? So let's continue.
Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 9. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our power.
Okay.
And set a watch against them day and night because of them.
Stop. So this is a beautiful response that Nehemiah used again. He said, nevertheless, we made our prayer unto the Most High and set a watch against them day and night because of them. Nehemiah's response for a second time was to pray to the Most High first and put it on the Most High first, and then they laid the watch day and night. You'll see many times David was great at this. David was great at sending prayers to the Most High first before he made moves.
Yeah.
A lot of kings would make moves and make military decisions and make observations and decisions off of their intellect and not through prayer.
And not guess right.
For instance, I remember one time with Joshua, they made a bargain with these non-Israelites to stay in the city. When they really got hustled, they didn't want to fight the Jews. They were hustled and bamboozled.
We've come a long way, my brother.
Into doing a joint alliance.
Yep.
But I remember Joshua never just sent prayers up and asked the Most High what was the best move. He just made a deal and made a move without prayer, and we ended up having to carry a bunch of non-Israelites amongst the nation because we just didn't pray and ask the Most High before we made action. What made Nehemiah so potent is that he would initiate the Most High, send those prayers, and then do action.
Yep.
And then a lot of us on the religious side just send prayers up and do no work. It can't be that either.
You're right.
You have to send prayers up and then put a full-fledged, legitimate plan in works. What you gonna say?
Psalms chapter 141, verse 8.
That's fast. Oh.
Psalms 141 and verse 8.
Read that.
But mine eyes are unto thee.
So David said when the situation was grim and situation was bad, read verse 7 real quick.
Come, verse 7. Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth.
He said our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth. Read on.
As when one cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth.
He said just like when somebody's splitting wood with an axe and you got wood chippings that fly everywhere. David is saying he's comparing our bones to like a lumberjack splitting wood. He said our bones are scattered everywhere, like in pieces, like shattered. Read on.
But my eyes are unto thee.
He said, but where's my eyes at?
Unto thee.
So even when the situation is bad, when the situation is our backs are against the wall, or we encounter a grave situation or roadblock, we always got to keep our eyes on what?
On the Lord.
He said, my eyes are on thee. Read.
O Yahweh, the Lord, in thee is my trust.
He said, regardless of the condition, even though it's bad, he says, I'm still putting my trust in you. Read.
Leave not my soul destitute.
He said, don't leave me in this condition. So before David made a move, he always resorted to who?
The Most High.
Read on.
Verse 9. Keep me from the snare which they have laid for me.
Because what David is saying is, I don't have enough power to go against the snares and the traps that they laid. No different than when you look at the power of the position that we're in as being the people that are exploited in America. We don't have a military, we don't have an army, we don't have leaders necessary to defend us in our own communities. Nope. Read on.
And the grins of the workers of iniquity.
He says, and the gens.
And the
gens. Like devices.
Yeah, gens, G-I-N-S. Gens are machines or devices that the nations create to keep you in a particular situation. Yep. There are certain restrictions, laws, loopholes,
systematic
oppression. There are certain things that the nation set up to keep you down. He says, and the gens, go ahead.
And the gens of the workers of iniquity.
He said, keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gens of the workers of iniquity. Read on.
Let the wicked fall into their own net.
He said, let the wicked fall in what?
Into their own net.
For example, when during the Reagan administration, when the CIA funded all these drugs to come up to be brought into America and given to the real Freeway Ricky Ross, you know what I'm saying? Not the one that, not the rapper, but the real Freeway Ricky Ross.
Not Officer Ricky.
Yeah, not Officer Ricky, like 50 Cent is saying, but the real Rick Ross. He was getting CIA funded drugs in loads to distribute, break it down into crack, and distribute it amongst communities. So when it became a crack epidemic. Mm-hmm. So, but that's okay as long as it's in our neighborhoods and communities. Yep. But now them same drug lords have switched the drugs and they're bringing in this fentanyl and all these other drugs that are taking the Midwest and Ohio, Iowa, Kansas, the heartland of America. Now they're all from New Mexico, Colorado. Now you got all this overdose amongst their communities.
Yep.
Opioid crisis.
Opioid crisis, the opioid addiction. Now it's not funny anymore. Now, we got to do something about it. Now we got to go in and we got to decriminalize, or we got to send CIA agents down into Mexico to capture drug lords.
Yeah.
But now we got to stop it because it's affecting their children. But it was okay and it was funded. Remember, the crack epidemic was funded by the CIA. That means government tax dollars were set aside to break down our cultures in our households, in our communities.
We pay for it.
But now, when the shoe's on the other foot, now the joke is on them. Now they have an opioid crisis. They have a fentanyl addiction. Now they're dying by overdoses. Now it's what are we going to do about it? But you know what? That's exactly what David prayed for. David said what?
Let the wicked fall into their own net.
Is it all that government-sponsored money to catch us in snares and to break apart the family communities and structures and put us and give us extended prison sentences for the smallest amount of dope?
Mm-hmm.
He said now it's in their house now, and now it's taking their house by storm.
Yep.
Read.
Wills, that I withal escape.
It says, and you set it up this way so that we can escape. See, this is what David is praying for. He said, man, let them fall in their own snares and their own traps so we can get out.
Yep.
That means the bear trap caught their foot, not ours. And that's what David is praying for. And that's what Nehemiah does also constantly as we're reading this in Nehemiah chapter 4. He's constantly resorting to the Most High to intervene to salvage us out of a situation that we don't have control over.
And he said Nehemiah is just staying calm and under control and poised through all of these legitimate, realistic threats. These are real threats. He's not sitting back here and losing it to where he's sitting back here and initiating anything. He's not sitting back here and proactively attacking cities and areas, but he's preparing his people. He's staying focused on the job. He's sending prayers to the Most High. He's staying focused on the job. He's not letting these distractions stop the work, but he's creating fail-safes in case something goes down.
Right.
This is top-notch leadership from a person who has been doing this for a while. You can tell he's been handling pressure and responsibility and expectations for a long time to be put in this situation to deal with this type of pressure that's on him.
And it's the equivalent of the spook that's over the door. It's the same concept. It's the concept of he's watching other nations govern their nations. He sees how this could benefit our people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These approaches and these informations could benefit my people as well.
Let's go to 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. This is a reminder about the power of prayer, and I'm not even going to lie. I know in my life I need to do a lot more praying and not just doing. I think this is a lesson for all of us. It's one thing to think things through. It's one thing to counsel. It's one thing to consider. But I think we all need to sit back and be considerate of the fact that prayer is just as important or more important than thinking it through and planning things through and stressing out and being this super brain. It's important to send those prayers up too. Read 2 Chronicles 7 and 14.
2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14. 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray.
Listen, he's telling us when we're faced with adversity, we're faced with problems, we're faced with scenarios that are over our pay grade or stressful situations or overwhelming circumstances. We have to humble ourselves down and pray. Why do you say humble and pray? Because you don't have the answer.
It's not you.
The Most High puts us in scenarios to let us know that we don't have the answers. We have guesses.
Yeah.
We have guesses. Listen, I don't give a damn how wise a man might think he is. His answer, his counsel is a guess.
Yeah.
Or you're taking it. Or one thing that's above a guess is I've read scriptures in the past that said this.
Or I've been in his shoes before. I've been in this situation.
But you're still guessing as to how it's going to turn out.
Right. Still don't have an answer.
So he's saying, listen, we have to humble ourselves and initiate to go to the Most High and request that He comes through for us. And that He listens to us. That acknowledgement is paramount. The reality that you don't have the answer, it doesn't matter how smart or prepared or what you've experienced. I have sat back here personally and knew how to do X, Y, Z, and the Most High throws another monkey wrench in that I wasn't expecting. And they're like, oh, okay. You don't have all the answers, buddy. You better sit back here and send some prayers up.
The company's paperwork, their paperwork is messed up.
Yeah. It's always something. It's always something. You can do all the preparing in the world and still fall on your face. You're like, you got to pray, humble down, pray. Read on.
It says, and pray and seek my face.
And seek His face. It ain't about you. It ain't about how you process things. Even if you have answers, don't mean you got the answer. I'm telling you, the ones that think they got the answer, the Most High throws all kind of monkey wrenches and curveballs in their circumstance to remind you don't got all the damn answers. Because the purpose of going through the circumstance you're going through is to be humble and to come to Him. That was the answer from the beginning. But we get so caught up into using our logic and our common sense and our experience. Even Nehemiah, with all his experience in management and responsibilities and all his successes, to where you're the damn food taster for the cupbearer for the king. I know Shamson went into it, but that cupbearer, he's in charge of all of the damn food that goes through to the king.
That's a coveted position because you're close to wealth.
But it's that. But listen, you are in charge of all the shipments. If this guy wants caviar, guess you got to make sure the caviar shipments are done right. Who's making the orders of caviar? Who's making orders of champagne? Who's making the ornaments of beef? Oxtails. What if my king likes oxtails? You got to be in charge of every one of those damn ingredients. Remember what? I don't know if you ever watched Hoodlum with what's his name with Larry Fishburne. And Larry Fishburne was about to eat this ice cream sundae, and he noticed some white sprinkles on his ice cream. And he sat back and it was almonds. And he was like, he talked to the head boss at the ice cream factory. He said, "Listen, man, did you make my sundae?" He said, "No, boss, I didn't make it at all." He said, "Who made the sundae?" He said, "The new cat made the sundae." He said, "Who's this new cat, man?" He said, he was chilling about to eat it and said, "I don't eat this, man. I don't eat this almond, man." Then he said, "This almond, this got some rat poison on it." And everybody, oh shit, Bumpy about trying to get executed. And they sat back here and said, "Who hired this guy?"
The guy was in the back.
And he said, "Frenchie." And he said, "Mother, you got to go kill him." He tried to kill him before he found out what happened. And he said, "Listen, man, you eat this sundae." The guy who made it for him, and the guy didn't want to eat it.
Oh.
Yeah. He said, "Eat it, man. Eat it." And all of them, Bumpy's goons got around like this. "You better eat this goddamn ice cream, man. Or you gonna die from eating this ice cream? Or you gonna die from all these niggas putting their hands on you? Which one are you gonna do?" Why am I saying this? The dude ended up getting killed, and the guy that brought the guy in got killed because he got paid off by Bumpy's enemies. What am I trying to say? If Nehemiah was the head guy for the king, he had to be in charge of all operations. He had to be in charge of all the food,
he's responsible,
all the spices, all the inventory, all the wine. Where did it come from? How many hands touched it to get to this spot? You know how organized you have to be for a full-fledged running kingdom that got fish and beef and animals going on all damn day long? You know the scope and the scale, even back then, of what you had to be on top of? All the people, and have relationships with people, and have spies for those people. You don't think he had to do that? He has to make it be really in charge on a scale that I don't think we really are conscious of. To sit back and deal with, okay, how's this guy's money looking? Is this guy, can he be bribed? Can he be touched? This guy's the head. This guy's the one in charge of the chicken. I got to make sure all these guys are on the up and up in their lives, let alone the food. Anyway, I'm showing you the scope of what he had to deal with. And even with his ability and his talent to get to that point, every time he was put in a situation that was difficult, he's sending prayers up. He's conscious of the Most High despite all of his ability and talent and his forward thinking and his ability to deal with responsibility on a large scale. He still chose the Most High in prayer first, before every enterprise, before every decision. And we as men in particular have to be conscious of this. When you sit back here and do a little whoopity-wop, little Shazam wisdom, and some shit works once or twice, we can't be told nothing. But right or wrong. Okay. We sit back and say a little wise word and give a little counsel. You can't tell a brother nothing after that. Yep. We got to make sure our pride don't get in the way of further learning and growing. Okay, read verse 14 again.
2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face.
That means seek the Most High's attention. Because when I'm in a situation where I'm powerless, all I can do is keep staying in order, keep asking for counsel, and keep having a routine of doing things the right way. Read on.
And turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from the heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land.
And Nehemiah is obviously studied enough to know that the land needed healing, the region needed healing, and we needed protection. And that protection was beyond the handful of men that Nehemiah had. And he wasn't going to sit back here in a faithless move and petition Artaxerxes to send 1,000 more troops to go get this job done. Because that would have been doubt too. But he could have did it. Yeah, he could have did it. But he allowed the Most High to sit back here and interject his way in. He could have sat back and wrote letters to the king and said, hey man, these guys are trying to kill us. They're planning to kill us. Can you please send 1,000 troops to protect us? But he sat back here and had enough faith that the Most High would get them through this situation. And you have to allow the Most High to show his power. Because what else is the lesson for that we're going through but to gain virtues of faith? We're supposed to go through things and allow the Most High to take over so we can see his power work through us. That's what faith is. Yeah. Doubt is the desire, the ultra desire to take control and micromanage every single thing around you. Being organized and disciplined is a portion of it. We have to sit back here and be disciplined and thorough and allow the Most High to take over. Yep. You understand?
You get a verse on that too. Micah chapter 6 verse 6. Read that.
You want anybody to read it?
Whoever got it.
That right.
You got it?
Micah chapter 6 and verse 6. Wherewith shall I come before the Lord?
So it says, go ahead.
And bow myself before the high power.
So it's a question. He's asking a question. He says, how shall a man come to the Most High? Because a lot of times you don't know when to go to the Most High. Because a lot of times we have plans and we have ideas and thoughts that we know that I created a fail-proof system where I know that what I'm going to do is going to work. Because I crossed all my T's and I dotted all my I's and I did everything right in my mind to where this should work that I planned to put together. But a lot of us, we know how to conjure up a plan and an idea, but we don't know when to go to the Most High. So he's saying, how should a man come to the Most High? Read on.
Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old?
So do you think the Most High wanted burnt offerings and sacrifices? Is that going to petition the Most High to intervene into your business? Is that going to get the Most High's attention to help you solve your problems? Read on.
Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000s of rivers of oil?
Go ahead.
Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression?
A lot of us will say, well, you know what? I'm going to give the Most High my firstborn son, and that should be a respectable offering so he could come in and intervene in my situation. Because I could say, you know what? I gave the Lord my firstborn. Is that going to get the Most High on your side? He said for transgression. Read on.
The fruit of my body for the sin of my soul.
He said, is that going to get the Most High to take pleasure with you? Read on.
He has showed me, oh man, what is good.
So he's saying the Most High already has a preference of how he chooses that you seek him. There's already a process or a preference that the Most High likes men to approach him with. It's not about what you think the Most High wants that's going to get the Most High's attention. Because we give the Most High what we think he wants versus what he does actually want.
What he says he wants.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have this notion that if I get the Lord this, then he'll reward me with that.
Exactly.
You don't understand the Most High. Read on.
Right.
And what doth the Lord require of thee?
So he's asking a question. What does the Most High want from us in order for him to intervene into our personal business?
Okay.
Read on.
But to do justly.
He says, do right with each other.
Yeah.
You can't ask the Most High for nothing if you don't know how to deal with your people right.
Right.
You might as well open your mouth and ask for something if you don't know how to treat the people around you right.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
And to love mercy.
It said, and if you don't know how to be merciful to the people around you, don't come to the Most High thinking he's going to hear you.
That don't mean love mercy when mercy is given to you.
Yeah, I'm saying when it's one sided.
I love it when mercy.
When I get mercy.
I love it when it was merciful on me.
Yeah, that ain't what he's talking about.
Not at all. Like, it's love and mercy on the ones that you have power over and you choose not to execute that power over somebody and you choose to give people more time. No matter how much it aggravates you. That's mercy. Give people, because people need what? Time. But the more time it takes them to figure it out, who is losing? You're losing.
Yep.
While you're waiting for somebody to figure it out and mature and get their head on straight, you're losing time. You're being inconvenienced. So that means if you love mercy, you love being inconvenienced out of love for somebody else.
That learning curve is subjective.
Kind. But if I love mercy, then you can understand the depth of the Most High's mercy on you. And you can appreciate the Most High more because you know how hard it is to be merciful on somebody who sometimes don't deserve it. Then you realize, I didn't deserve a lot of mercy, but I still got it. Let me love the Most High even more. This is why it's so important to appreciate and to give people 70 times 7 chance to figure it out. Then you can begin to understand how many chances the Most High has given our nation over the generations.
And you can understand what you're asking for.
Kinda.
If you don't know the value of mercy, you don't know what you're asking for from the Most High.
Kinda.
And you don't know how difficult it is. If you understand, man, that although I got to keep extending myself to people that I don't want to have compassion or pity for or pity towards, but I got to do it anyway.
Well, that might not have deserved it.
They might not have deserved it. Then the Most High, then you understand what you're asking for that you don't really deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can value mercy a lot better.
Yes.
Read.
And to love mercy, and to
Stop. And the what?
And to love mercy.
So if you and so these are things that the Most High. These are 3 conditions that the Most High is explaining. If you want the Most High to be involved in your everyday life, he says you gotta look at these things that are important as criteria to the Father. These things are important to the Most High when you want something from Him. You gotta love mercy. He said you gotta do justly. You gotta treat people right, and you gotta what?
And to walk humbly.
And you gotta be what?
Walk humbly.
So, and you can't be prideful expecting the Most High to come through for you.
Mm-hmm.
He says you gotta walk what?
Walk humbly.
Go ahead.
With thy power.
And it says, and if you do these things, this allows the Most High to intervene and hear your prayers a lot better. So he's judging your actions, the treatment of the people around you, your ability to forgive and extend mercy, give people time, what you feel like they don't deserve, and you also gotta be humble. You gotta get rid of your opinion. That means you gotta eradicate your thought process. And if you do these 3 things, the Most High said He'll hear your prayers.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So, when we think we're so far gone that the Most High won't hear our prayer, that we got to humble ourselves too, we're not humble.
Yeah, because that's still my opinion.
Yep.
Even for me to feel like I'm too far gone, who's saying that?
And that's me letting my grief and my condemnation get in the way of me trying to fight. Because when a person says that, that's really a negative in you trying to convince you to be more negative. That's a negative thought. That's wicked. That's a wicked thought when you tell yourself, I'm too far gone. Because if I convince myself I'm too far gone, then who gains the advantage? The flesh. Now you're just saying you're giving the flesh an okay to just go really far left.
Can I give an example?
That's how you know it's a negative thought. You know it's a negative thought because who gains the advantage by feeding that thought?
The flesh.
The flesh does. That's how you know it's negative. That's not, I'm just so humble and I'm just keeping it real because I'm so wicked and I make so many mistakes. No, that's your negative side psychoanalyzing you to go be more wicked. Anyway.
And one of the classical Israelite examples of this.
Why do anything? I'm so wicked. Let me just leave.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the game. But
Diabla or Diablo. Come on.
Key classical example. I smoked a cigarette. You know what? I might as well smoke a blunt. That's the classical
I might as well smoke a blunt.
That's the classical game. I smoked a cigarette, and then you know what? About maybe 15.
Why'd you do it twice?
I don't know.
I'm just messing with it. If you're debating about it, why should you keep doing it?
You know what? I'm already smoking cigs.
Or I vaped.
I vaped. That's the classic.
That's a better one.
That's the classic. I vaped because there's a little technology like this. Oh, and then I'm so bad. Well, my nerves. I have nerves. My nerves are. I'm so nervous.
Yes.
You know what? I need a cigarette. You know what? I'm already smoking a cigarette. I was vaping, which you can't. They say it's bad, but I don't believe it. But now smoking cigarettes. You know what? Let me smoke a blunt. And then you look up.
That's more negative.
And there's a little green thing. There's a little green, like a little small green thing. What is this? What are you doing, huh? I didn't know it was there. What do you mean? And they start crying. Oh man, I smoked a cigarette last week, huh? Well, when you smoke a cigarette? Man, I did it after I vaped. What? What? After you vape? Why didn't you talk to anybody about this? I just felt so ashamed. No, that shame is a cover for me doing what I really want to do.
To justify what I really want to do.
So that now I understand the spirit of feeling bad about yourself. This is why you need men and brothers in scriptures and studying in classes to help build you back up, so we don't regress back into that. I'm so ashamed.
I understand about feeling bad about myself too, but listen, it's feeling bad about yourself. But the thoughts that say, well, effort, why keep trying?
Why try?
Whoa, that's an acceleration there. When I start saying why try, I said, why wipe your ass after you take a poop every damn day long?
Why try?
Why try? You're just going to keep getting dirty. Well, for that. So, does that mean you just stop wiping your ass? That's my response to why try. It's the truth. Yeah. It's the truth. Listen, bro, you still got to fight, bro.
I tried. I failed.
You still got to try.
Then the conversation is.
Listen, I'm not trying to be nasty, but come on, man.
Yeah.
We get with this fatalist. Everything's falling. The sky's falling. And then we just quit and stop trying anything. Then
the conversation goes to, well, I think you guys start hearing you guys conversations a lot of times. You don't understand. You guys, and it's like, you know what? I just feel like I don't fit in.
Yeah.
There's the fake bad guy.
And my answer is, you're right. When you want to sit back here and do drugs, you don't fit in. How about that? That is a correct statement. Or you can choose to fight and be with everybody else who's trying to fight. Because that's really what this is about. Are you trying to fight, or are you looking for a reason not to fight? It's that simple. We can psychoanalyze and do all this self-isolation. What we don't understand is, he that trusted in his flesh like his arm, read it, Jeremiah 17:5 real quick. It says, cursed is the man
that makes his flesh his arm.
That makes his flesh his arm. That just means when I sit back here and trust in how I think and my unproven psychology, a lot of us get caught up because we have ways of looking at things. We have isms, and we convince ourselves that how we look at things is true. and we don't allow other spiritually minded people to challenge our versions, our insane versions and philosophies about life. Read that in Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 17:5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh his flesh his arm.
This is why we're cursed. You're cursed when you sit back here and trust in how you look at things. You know you're about to fall when you sit back here and you allow all your thoughts to just build and build and build. And you don't allow spiritually minded people that you know are spiritual. I'm not talking about people that are untrustworthy. Trustworthy spiritual people to challenge your thinking. This is why David said in Psalms 141:5, let the righteous smite me, and shall be a kindness. The smiting is in the challenging of how you process things. Yeah. And he said, listen, you need to allow a person to challenge your thinking, your backwards thinking. Yeah. But what we do is, we'll sit back in class, smile, salute, and go home and still think about all the negative thoughts that we have and convince ourselves that our thinking is the spirit. And that's when we get in trouble. This is why after class, it's so important to have counsels and talk after class to help filter these backwards thoughts that are bouncing in all of our heads. Counsel is so important. Class is only a portion of how you get healed. Yeah. Yeah. If you don't sit back here and allow counsel to prevail, what does counsel prevail? What does that mean? For counsel to prevail, one person has to vomit out the insanity that's in their mind. And then another person has to sit back here and absorb the vomit, get vomited on, and then make clear the insanity that's being spewed from another person's face and allow wisdom in the scriptures to rule.
To filter it.
Because when it really boils down to it, one person feels strong about a topic, another person has scriptures. Ultimately, the scriptures and the greater wisdom should prevail. It doesn't always, though, because we want to hold them to our opinion and our feelings. But the greater wisdom should prevail in our households and amongst brothers and amongst sisters. That's how you filter your thoughts out. But it has to be humility first. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And the humble in the blue letter is to subdue, and that's to conquer by force.
But the thing is this. You know what the crazy thing is? You're right. But we most of the time can't conquer our own thoughts on our own. You got to be humble enough just to get it out. That is 95% of the battle. Can you just say the negative that's in your head? And then allow, this is the thing. If you're humble enough to say what's in your head, then at least through counsel, the Most High can set the stage to show you what's wrong.
The lesson.
Because the thing is this: once you humbly express what's in your head, you're gonna still feel what you feel half the damn time. You'll be about what the hell you feel regardless. Mm-hmm. But now, once it's in the air, and the brother or sister says that is off, brother or sister, then all of a sudden you go home and you're justified in your off-ass ways, and then guess what happens? Then God lets you know, oh, that shit was wrong. By shit going bad in your life. Now you have confirmations whether you're off or not. But if you never bring it out,
there's never confirmation.
You never know if it's wrong or right.
You're right.
You see the point?
You're right.
Getting it out is the start. Let that whackness come out. Let that weird shit come out. Get the weird shit out.
Sometimes I feel like people just. Sometimes I feel.
Then get it out.
Get it out.
Get the feelings out. It is weird. Get it out anyway. Once you get it out, let somebody sit back here and show you how it's off. Then the battle starts. Then life is going to show you. If you're humble, you'll listen and change. But you know, Israel, we got to learn shit the hard way. So we'll go home and do our thing and operate, and the Spirit will teach us. However many times he's got to teach us.
The car accidents will teach you.
Yeah, car accidents, losing jobs, bosses all of a sudden changing their outlook towards you.
I don't like
that. Is switching on you. What happened? These things are how the Most High teaches us that the counsel that we were refusing to listen to, we need to listen to.
And strangers will pop up. Most High, if you're at the mall, strangers will pop up and give you the same exact counsel the elder did.
You know how many times? I've been told, yeah, bro. I talked to this customer, I talked to this person in the street, and they said this, and this, bro, and this is really what I got to start changing. I'm like, I'm glad that person from the world told you that answer. I'm like, I am glad that you see the answer. I'm glad you see the light, because this was told you 6 months ago, but that's okay. It's not about who gets the credit.
Most High to stir up a customer.
It's not about who gets the credit.
I want you to the mall. Buy some shoes. I want you to talk to that brother right there who's rebellious.
Yeah.
And give him the same exact counsel you heard 6 months ago. Because now he's ready to listen. Most High stirs the customer up. I want to go to the mall today. Go buy some shoes.
I'm telling you this is how it works. Because the Most High humbles the counselor and the counselor. This way. He keeps everybody humble by doing it this way. Our job as teachers and counselors is to set the stage for the Spirit to teach you.
For education.
And that's it. But you got to be humble enough to stir the pot and get the thing going. And even if you don't understand it, hell, even Peter didn't understand the sign of the Most High 3 times about arise, kill, and eat. Right. So I'm not trying to knock anybody who needs to learn the hard way, but everything shouldn't be the hard way. How about that? But even he had to learn from 3 different messages just to go. Just go, man. He said, just go. So he just went. And then when he went to the house, he realized what the understanding of the vision was. Right? Mm-hmm. So, but you got to get it out. Get the problem out. So an answer can be given to you. Whether you choose to accept it or not, it's up to you. But life will start mirroring your rebellion or your listening.
And we have to be active participants in our own healing. Like we have to be active participants in our own nation and build our own walls.
Yep. Tom?
And on that point, like you said about, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7. On that point, you talked about how somebody might say, I'm too far gone, it's too late for me.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Yeah, nobody cares about me anyway.
Yeah.
You know, why change? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
It's 5 what?
Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7.
Down?
No, just 7.
Okay.
Screw up.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High.
So a lot of people they wait a long time to come to the Most High. Right. All that, it's too late for me. Why change? All you're doing is stalling. All you're doing is wasting time.
Yeah.
By questioning or even coming up with the thought, I'm so bad of a person. God is never going to forgive me for all my mistakes. I'm just this bad of a person. All you're doing is wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've screwed up so big, I don't even know if I'm even worth being forgiven for this one, because this one's a big one. All you're doing is wasting time. All that coming up with your own logic about what you think the Most High is going to do and what's going to qualify you forgiveness or repentance. All those questions are just wasting time. Read.
And put not off from day to day.
So every day that you say it's too late for me, all you're doing is wasting the day.
Day to day.
Day to day. All you're doing is putting off change and putting off forgiveness and mercy day to day.
Right.
Read.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High come forth.
Because when you keep saying, instead of just actually saying what the issues are, instead of just actually coming to the Most High with humility, you're just by you stalling by saying it's too late for me, the Most High gonna catch you, because you've been given time to come clean. He says, but the Most High will just come do what?
It said, and in thy security.
He said, he read that part again. He says,
for suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High come forth.
He said, because the Most High is listening to you say every day, it's no need for me to change. It's too late. Why change? The Most High is listening to this. And he says, suddenly, the wrath of the Most High is going to do what?
Come forth.
Go ahead.
And in thy security.
And when you think everything is okay, and when you think the Most High forgot about the fact that you didn't want to come clean, and you thought it was smooth, and you were out of the red, just because you told yourself the Most High, it doesn't matter anyway. You told yourself that, So you made no efforts to change.
Yep.
So the Most High said, okay, well, I'm gonna come to you in a day where you weren't expecting me to come to you. I'm gonna catch you off guard. Read.
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
It said, in your what?
Security.
Security thou shalt be destroyed.
When are everybody secure? When I think that the Most High because I said I don't care, I think the Most High heard me and was in agreement with me because I said I don't care, he don't care either. Mm-hmm. That's not true. Just because you tell yourself it doesn't matter, doesn't mean the Most High feels the same way. We think we can wish away the Lord, and because we can tell ourselves, well, it don't matter about what I do anyway. That don't mean that's what the Most High says. That doesn't mean that that's how he thinks. Just because you have a particular opinion about how you look at yourself, that doesn't mean the Most High agree with that. Read on.
And perish in the day of vengeance.
It said, but the Most High will cause a person to perish in the day of vengeance, because all they did was waste time talking about, it's too late. God is never going to forgive me for this. Why try? All I'm doing is stalling. And the stalling going to get you caught up too. Because really the origin of that stalling, read verse 5.
Verse 5. Concerning propitiation.
Which means making atonement for your mistakes. Go ahead.
Be not without fear.
It said, well, really, the reason a person is stalling and why they don't come to the Most High quick enough is because they don't got enough fear of the Lord.
Right.
See, when you don't have enough fear of the Lord, you waste time. You come up with all these ideas of why not to confess, why not to come clean, why not to be humble, why not to humble yourself. All you're doing is wasting time because you don't have enough fear of the Lord. That's really what you're lacking. Read.
Be not without fear to add sin unto sin.
And all you're doing is adding sin. By letting every day go by, you're adding sin on top of sin by not changing. And that's what our people do when we feel like there's no need to come to the Lord.
And that sin upon sin is the compounding of more problems.
Yep.
Because now, I had one real critical vice issue I could have dealt with because I didn't talk about it. Now I have 2 or 3, maybe 4 other additional critical vice issues that are compounding.
God. And we lack the humility to get it fixed. That's it.
I guess the question is, we keep going. It's 2 o'clock. I think we should stop there.
Where we at? Nehemiah chapter 4.
It's 9 it's 4 and 9. 10 goes 10 and 9, 10, 11, 12. It kind of goes not a different direction, but it just kind of amplifies that the threat of these surrounding nations doing something about and attacking us was getting real, and they were getting like 10 separate reports that this shit was about to go down. So the stress started amplifying after the prayers, and I kind of want to. We can force it, but it's already 2 o'clock, bro, and we're only halfway through.
I'm down.
So let's do it next week. Are there any questions right now? I think we got a good amount in these first 9 verses. We got a lot done in 9 verses. Got a lot done in 9 verses, bro. It doesn't pay to just rush through things. You understand that? We can rush through verses and just make it like it's standards. We just read the damn read, but the message, there's always lessons. If you slow it down, there's lessons in every chapter in this book. Every chapter has a lesson. Every one. And if you can't get it, read it until you get the understanding. There's a lesson in every chapter in these books. Sometimes 2 and 3 lessons. And if you can run through it and race through it, and you ain't got no understanding, you ain't got nothing out of it, slow down and go back and read it again. This is not a race. All we got for the rest of our lives is to read the Bible. So I'll be stressing out about I got to get all this in one day. But on the flip side, don't take that mindset to be lazy. Well, this is the rest of my life, so I can just watch TV and just wait till class.
Naruto's
be that either. There's the new season in September.
Naruto's back.
You can't do that either.
Yeah.
Listen, you have the rest of your life to do it, but are you going to sit back here and every day and get some traction in this book?
And the lesson that Nehemiah is expressing at this point that we was reading is every time Nehemiah hit a brick wall or he had opposition, he resorted to prayer.
Cant.
With every single opposition, he prayed to the Most High.
Prayer and then action.
Yep.
That's what it's prayer and then action. Well, it's prayer, counsel, and then action. That's really what it was. Prayer, counsel, and action. Let's take that from this topic so far. But the execution, it's got to be execution then. Can't just be praising the hell out of the Lord with no execution. Because Israel will do that. Israel will go to classes and not do any execution and fix anything. And then come back the next day for more praise.
I praise you.
And more reading and more studying and more scripture. Without action.
The Lord is great.
You understand? All right. Let's work on that.
I make one more point. I know we got to shut up. But church is big for that, bro. Those that haven't grown up in church.
Church in Israel, church in the church, and the church in Israel.
Yeah.
Let's find out Israel is good for that too. We'll talk about Esau and go home and be wicked as hell.
Well,
that is a fact.
He's such a
Esau. You know how wicked he is, destroying the earth. And I will partake in that part that he's destroying. Give me some of that for 15, Bill.
Yeah.
We will sit back and tap into the same thing he's saying is off. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, and Jake in church will eat pig feet and pork, and then be like, we gotta pray for Sister Jenkins.
Yeah.
She's going to surgery next week.
Yeah. For high blood pressure. Because she got the sugars.
Yeah. Make sure y'all throw those prayers up because she's really doing bad. And after that, we're going to have a church dinner.
With that same pork that got you sick in the first place.
Yeah. And Miss Mark's going to end up making her favorite. She's going to make that pie all like with all those extra sugar ingredients. And we're going to have extra
sugar ingredients.
And we got pork chop sandwiches to go with it. So y'all make sure y'all bring at least bring some juice.
Yeah.
Bring some red juice.
So
that's how it goes, bro.
Peter juice. So listen, we're gonna sit back and send these prayers up, y'all. Amajim, Wapunya, Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
The light is bright. What's going on over here?
That's what's supposed to be. That's your color too, with that hazed out orange color, orange tint. That's not pure. Anyway,
how bright everybody's shirt is.
Everything's okay. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Please listen to us right now. Send Michael and the righteous angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the people of Yasharallah. Also send unto us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, and much love, spiritual power, and forgive all of our sins. Yahweh Shai, come quickly, for in thee is our hope, always and forever. Amen. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
3. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
And thy faithfulness every night.
And thy faithfulness every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the psaltery.
Upon the harp.
Upon the harp.
With the solemn sound.
With the solemn sound.
For thou Yahweh.
For thou Yahweh.
Hast made me glad through thy work.
Has made me glad through thy work.
I will triumph. In the works of thy hands.
In the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
How great are thy works.
How great are thy works.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not.
Neither let the fool understand this.
Neither let the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring is the grass.
When the wicked spring is the grass.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
It is that they should be destroyed forever.
It is that they should be destroyed forever.
But thou Yahweh.
But thou Yahweh.
Art most high forevermore.
Art most high forevermore.
For lo thy enemies.
For lo thy enemies.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo thy enemies.
For lo thy enemies.
Shall perish.
Shall perish.
All the workers of iniquity.
All the works of iniquity.
Shall be scattered.
Shall be scattered.
But my horn shall thou exalt.
But my horn shall thou exalt.
Like a horn of a unicorn.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
I shall be anointed.
I shall be anointed
with fresh oil.
With fresh oil.
Mine eye also shall see.
Mine eye also shall see.
My desire.
My desire.
On my enemies.
On my enemies.
And my ears shall hear.
And my ears shall hear.
My desire.
My desire.
Of the wicked. That rise up against me.
That rise up against me.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that the Lord is upright.
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
And there is no unrighteousness in him.
And there is no unrighteousness in him.
By Shem Yahushua.
By Shem Yahushua.
Psalms 133. Shayar Ham'awa.
Shayar Ham'awa.
La Dawad.
La Dawad.
Hana.
Hana.
Ma. Tawab.
Tawab.
Wama. Na'ayam. Shabbat. Akim. Gam. Yachad. Kashaman. Hatawab. Ayam. Hara'ash. Yerad. Ayam. Hazakwan. Zakwan. Aharan. Shayarad. Ayam. Hayah. Manawafiwa. Qatar. Haramwan. Shayarad. Ayam. Haraya. Tazayawan. Hayah. Sham. Tazawah. Yahweh. Habaraka. Chayaya. Al-Walam. By Shem Yahushua.
Psalms 133 in English. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head, that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life evermore. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rakhanel, Ba'ashralim, Wabiaf, Support, Term. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rakhanel, Ba'ashralim, Wabiaf, Support, Term. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rakhanel, Ba'ashralim, Wabiaf, Support, Term. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rakhanel, Ba'ashralim, Wabiaf, Support. Barak Thay Help, Barak Thay Help Shot, Barak Thay Help, Barak Thay Help Shot, Barak Thay Help, Barak Thay Help Shot. All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all mercy, all patience, all long suffering, all power from your help. All power from your help. All power from your help. Ba'ashem, Yahushua, the Word, the Miyat, Amen. Shake it up.
Got it?
Saluting out in the heavenly order, Yahweh, when I was shot, the Queen Shirala, and Israel, Amadra, Rock,
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Barakam. Gotta talk a little louder on that last one, okay?
Saluting out the daughters of Zion, men of Israel, Amadra, Rock,
Yahweh, Shema, Barakam, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Yes, but top. Dismiss. Fall out. To all of y'all. See y'all on Monday. Shalom.